Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all who identify otherwise, this is the ALTTPR League in the Open League in the Desert Palace Division, and we have some playoff implications tonight. My co-com would introduce herself, but she's busy biting off her fingernails as her teammate is playing for the potential of getting into the brackets. This is 3 teams, all at the same 21 points, and these two are facing each other this week. So, Leo, if you still have nails left, how you feeling?
I think my stomach hurts a little bit. I think I maybe ate too much. Anyway, I'm great. I'm ready to see some shenanigans as we see a palette shuffle on Kaesden's side with that uncle start.
So we had Uncle Start Palette Shuffle. The fun part with the Palette Shuffle is we did have an update pushed through recently for the randomizer. We're now on, I believe it's 31.0.7, and that gave us a updated and hopefully much more appealing palette shuffle. Scruff going with the typical palette.
Yeah, Kaesden specifically asked earlier if palette shuffle was allowed on Restream, got the okay, and I'm happy to see because I specifically requested pinks and purples. I'm happy to see that his palette was willing to oblige.
Absolutely. So both our runners here are starting with the uncle, and this is one of every dungeon they're going to have to walk into today.
Yeah. So our mode this week, ladies and gentlemen, is AD keys, which is short for all dungeon key sanity. So our runners are going to have to beat every single boss in the game. They're going to have to, find the keys that they need to do that, which are scattered throughout the world. And we can't even do a map check to see, what's our 5/6s, what's our pendants, because the maps, the compasses, everything is shuffled along with it.
And if earlier races have been any indication, this is going to be a relatively long race in comparison to some of what we saw last week with Mystery. I know last week we had a 25-minuter, I think it was, and even an 8 hour, so Mystery's a little different. But your average AD keys typically runs 2 hours to 2.5 hours, so you'll be with us here for a while, guys, and hope you're going to enjoy the show.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, just like Rando can kind of go any direction, AD keys could do a lot of different things. We could see a relatively jet-ish AD keys, but we could also see, a terrible seed, as we see a small key on the lumberjack. So, that's going to be sitting in the back of our runners' minds. Like, is that going to be a required small key to somewhere? Like, that could be the swamp small, which would be very gross.
Yeah, seeing a small key there, I almost wish that we could find some way to color the keys to the dungeons so we could know which ones are which as we see them. I get why we don't, but it would be kind of fun. But having that there, unless we don't see Castle Tower keys for a while, that could escape their minds towards the end. Be interesting to see, though, if it does turn out to be something really important.
Yeah, on a bright side, we know it can't be a Castle Tower key, since Castle Tower is required to unlock that.
In fact, that is the only location in the entire game the Castle Tower cannot be. As we see, both Scruff and Kaesden have picked up a fire rod to this point.
Yeah, and Kaesden saving and quitting back to Link's house, going to come at Kakariko from the south after farming some bombs at the bushes south of the grove. Whereas it looks like Scruff is going to do the opposite. He's going to still come in from the top, maybe gamble that he finds some money or some bombs in the well or in Blindsight.
I think the general rule is when you go in without bombs and without the money for it, you find the money, you buy the bombs, and the next chest you open has bombs. Or you don't go for the money and you just get bombs when you buy bombs.
I mean, yeah, it do be like that sometimes.
Kaesden getting very fortunate on his 50/50s, only having to do it twice, because they have those 2 specific bushes there in that little reverse L shape that are going to give you a bomb roughly 50% of the time, give or take the, averages of coin flip. So having 3 to walk up with after only 2 is about as good as you can get.
Yeah, as Scruff, through blindsight, does not find any bombs, but does find a sword and a Turtle Rock small key.
Having a sword this early is nice, especially given that, the fire rod is a limited weapon in the capacity of we don't have half magic, we don't have bottles, we can only use it for so long before we have to go and find something to aid us with it. So now places like Mini Moldorm Cave and all that become much easier and more appealing, and that hookshot also helps make that more appealing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And our first pod key, which feels nice, a shovel on the library. I think our runners are hoping to never have to come back for that, but at the same time, it's there. It depends on where these boots are about how necessary that might be.
Indeed. And as Ricky points out in chat, our restreamer, there was no easy bomb there. And what's interesting with the AD keys portion of things is because all the keys are hanging out in the wild as opposed to sitting in their dungeons where they should be, a lot of those fill items start to fill dungeons instead of filling the other overworld areas that we're used to seeing bombs and arrows and rupees out of. So we can see a scarcity of any of our normal supply that we look at and go, we can take that for granted because we're going to find a bunch of them.
It is true. And look, Kaesden saving the chicken out of Chicken House for you. It's like he knew.
Gotta respect it.
And being rewarded with a small key that is fairly use-ish-less. It's nice to be able to route and not have to save and quit after falling down in Skullwoods, but it's not like one of the most necessary small keys.
No, that one's one of our luxury small keys for sure. And Scruff picks up a key that is anything but luxury in our Turtle Rock Big.
Yeah, that's a really important find, and having had 2 TR keys really early on, it makes me wonder, are the rest of them going to be as nicely accessible, or are they going to be a bit on the trolley side? Because TR keys can be a bit rude.
They can indeed, and it's always fun to note that TR has one chest that requires the 4th key to comfortably grab and not worry about having to find the 4th key that you always want to forget about in Lava Chest. But if we have a required item there, they have to go and find all 4 of the Turtle Rock Smalls.
Yeah, this is 100% true. It's one of those 3 to beat the dungeon before to complete. Because you can steal that Pokey Key, it's just not...
And that's the other thing with the AD keys portion is we are not going to sit here and see these guys stay in what we consider normal sequence as things like Palace of Darkness, Turtle Rock. They can Ice Palace even. Skullwoods too. You can go in there without the keys necessary for the logic to say you can have those items because of sequence breaking things like Icebreaker and Diver Down or other various ways to get around things. And so we'll have a whole lot of, is this in logic or is this not? And they're not going to care so long as they can get to the next item.
Yeah, and I don't, I can't even words. I'm sorry. I'm really I'm struggling. Had a moment as Kaesden had started to leave the mushroom in the back of Blind's hut, but then got to the top of the stairs, realized he didn't check that back room, went back for it. As Scruff finds out, it is the big key to Hera. Oddly, with the tech that we have available now via Herapot, it's not a completely required key anymore unless something happens to be in that big chest.
And that's an excellent point, and it'll be interesting to see when Kaesden picks it up. Does he decide to stay with it or save scum the mushroom and know that he can? Well, he answered my question before I asked it. But there was absolutely the possibility of save scumming that mushroom to be able to use for a fake powder later, and then once you're ready to go get your Hera big key, head up there and open that big chest.
Yeah, this is true. And I think it's one of those situations where it's like, it's not a completely super required big key, but with it being so early available, it's hard to justify just completely getting rid of it. Now, something to note as we see Kaesden kind of following Scruff from the dam and will be heading towards Mini Moldorm next, I would assume. Scruff did not get his... He did not go to library or the race game. He ended up saving and quitting from Blind's Head after having to go back up that direction. So he does not have the information about that shovel being on the library. Now, it's a shovel, so I mean, hopefully it's, you know, again, not a necessary thing. But now, like, you know, from my, like, slight little bit of bias, I'm kind of hoping it's a thing.
Yeah, your bias is indeed showing, which is fine. That's good. You know, root on your teammate. I'll sit here and stay as down the middle as I can. You know, not gonna promote Hyrule.
I mean,
I
want to at least be open and honest about my bias, right?
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
I mean, yeah.
You know, wear it proudly.
Yeah, I mean, it's realistically, this has been a week that we have been discussing as a team for a while. We knew that track and field was going to be one of the teams that were going to be really, really tricky to face off against. And because of that, you know, this has been a week that we've been kind of eyeballing since the beginning of the league, really, truly. And so there's a little bit of anxiety that comes along with that, you know, extreme anticipation, if you will, as Scruff finds his Master Sword in Ice Rod Cave. So getting a nice, getting something blue, but not the vanilla thing.
Certainly not the vanilla thing. Kind of don't want to see the vanilla thing, I would think, at this point, given that we've already had a couple of tells towards TR. Not to say that the Ice Rod would shoot them up there or anything like that. We still need multiple items to get there. But if you're not wanting to go up the mountain that quickly, you definitely want to avoid getting the items that will point you there.
Yeah, agreed. Although they are... Ooh, now Scruff is... We do not have a lamp, so Aga Tower is not in logic, but Scruff is opting to just go ahead and do it with the fire rod. Well, get it done out of the way and force... Check. Say again? Oh, first chest, that's right. Forgive me, you're right. You're right. Wait, wow.
There is that fire source.
Wow.
What is a play?
What is this?
So the other important item to note, which chat did mention, is that we did already find our Swamp Palace small key, and that was hanging out in the Mini Moldorm cave.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those... It's one of those keys that can be really, really gross to have to find later. As Kaesden gives us the information that Meyer is our green pendant today. This is just interesting. I mean, I don't know how to put it other than that. I'm still on a loop from that lamp because that's actually a really, really fun find. As Scruff also finds Bomba, so he is just loaded with all the fire sources right now.
Yeah, fire is all over Scruff's screen there. It'll be interesting to see when Kaesden decides to hit Castle Tower for anything. The fact that he has a fire rod and he has comfort with dark rooms means that for the ones that might be slightly difficult, which aside from Aga Tower, there aren't too many that, you know, the fire rod would help with. So he might just look at it and go, I have a fire rod, I'm doing all right. I can do the other dark rooms and not worry about looking for that lamp or trying to find where it fits into the logic.
Yeah, Kaesden is very much of the opinion that lamp is a commodity but not a necessity. Now, I am not certain, just because I haven't like specifically asked him, I'm not certain his comfort level with Dark Aga, but I mean, with a fire rod and with a map, you know, at the very least, that's something that he could get through.
So the ball and chain guard, I think, turned invisible for a second when Scruff shot him with the fire rod, because I'm pretty sure the fire hit him in the head and didn't do anything.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that, as Scruff is going to take a death warp and use that nicely found lamp to go and check out Dark Cross, and he'll have finished out all of the front of escape as well as the first available check in Aga Tower.
Indeed, and we'll be able to see that with that lamp, it's nice and easy for him to just make this move through what, for a lot of runners, is a basically scripted area of, walk a specific way for a certain amount of time, turn, walk again, hold your sword out, hit something. In the dark room, that takes an extra 5, 10, 15 seconds, depending on who you might be. With Scruff having the lamp, he's getting those seconds, those precious seconds, just totally shaved off.
Yeah, that checking Agate Tower was huge, and this came up in a bit of a practice seed that we had all been playing the other night, where there happened to have been a moon pearl in that first chest of Agate Tower, and so we kind of were like, all right, well, if you have a master sword and you're going that direction, you might as well just check that first chest while you're in the escape area. Now, whether Kaesden remembers that or not, I don't know. But right now, Scruff has a nice little find there that will be able to help him through these dark rooms a little bit more cleanly.
Yep, and he was rewarded in his Dark Cross with another luxury key in Misery Mire, where that's another one of those dungeons. You don't need any of the keys to go in and complete it, but you do need to, go and route the dungeon. So having the keys makes it a little better. So when you see him, it's great. And Kaesden getting a glove that he doesn't know is in logic. Scruff, when he picks it up, will.
This is true. And Kaesden's going to do this back of escape real quick here, get these 3 chests. Now the question is, after that, does he go to the front of escape and take care of all of that? Or does he go to the mountain and, in his mind, sequence break it? But in our mind, we know that it would be a logical next play.
And the mountain is a very hard thing to pass up when you have the hook shot so early, just because of all those items that are hanging out on the right side.
Right. Yeah, he had that moment there of trying to decide which one he wanted to do. Like, you could tell just from that little bit of, where do I want to start? We know this is the right play, but really it's mainly the right play if he goes to that Agate Tower chest. Now, again, I'm hoping that he'll kind of remember recent seeds where it was a thing, but we'll see.
Well, the interesting thing too, though, with AD keys is you're pretty much guaranteed, as we see Scruff in Eastern the same way that Kaesden was. Both of these runners are going to have to come back to the Eastern Palace. There's no avoiding that. We're going to see a lot of that throughout the rest of this race, where dungeon dipping is going to be a critical decision, as opposed to what typically is the how many mountain trips can I avoid. I feel like the mountain trips become a bit more amplified when you have that knowledge of, I'm going to be double dipping dungeons, let's try not to double, triple, or quadruple dip the mountain too. So Kaesden might just be holding off on even going up there until he finds the ability to clear the entire thing.
Yeah, and I mean, CJ in chat bringing up a good point too, that Kaesden may wait to do Agate Tower until he has at least 1 key and can get both of those chests, which isn't, a completely wrong decision. It's not. If you can avoid double dipping some dungeons, it feels good to avoid double dipping. But at the same time, you're right here. You have a master sword. You can open it up and just peep in there real quick. But we'll see what happens. Scruff is going to be getting his glove very, very shortly here. And then Kaesden will be getting that death warp here shortly as well to, I'm going to assume obviously check Dark Cross, because with that Fire Rod it is in logic, but I would hope also to get that lamp.
Yeah, we're not seeing a save and quit, so he's definitely doing a death warp. He is probably likely to hit Dark Cross first, and then maybe get another death warp and go hang out at the top of Agate Tower. Thing is, once he's done here, because he's already hit Eastern and everything, all that's really left for him is Castle Tower and Agina, as we see him heading towards that tower.
Yeah, he is going to go ahead and get that lamp, so excellent. That's good. That was a GT small in the in Zelda cell. So still not a CT small, but still going to recognize I can do this, I can check this one, let's go. And Scruff will be doing the back of escape, and then I would venture a guess to say he's going to go immediately up that mountain right after.
Yeah, I think his options are the mountain or a single check at Agina, and fake flippering over to a single logical check anyway at Zora. So it wouldn't surprise me to see the mountain be his next play for sure.
Yeah, and Kaesden giving us a view of that stun prize also being a full magic refill. So that's going to be really, really useful later on. To like if we need to have like a kind of refill moment.
For sure. And it also helps make that fire rod a lot more viable. Master Sword's great. It's fine. It works. You really want a tempered sword for that, best upgrade damage-wise that you can get. So Fire Rod could become more of a relied upon weapon for them, knowing that they have the ability to refill magic with the swing of a hook shot.
Yeah, this is true. And in case you missed it, Scruff gave us our first little map check. Now, the only thing we got to see with that was Desert Palace. But Desert Palace was a red pendant. So far, that's the only information we have. That was our only Light World map available.
Yep, so Kaesden's getting his luxury key out of the Dark Cross. Scruff is, as we anticipated, heading up the mountain to the plethora of checks that are there due to that hook shot. That's probably where we're going to see our next progression that leads us into what hopefully opens the seed up and gives us the ability for a little bit of divergence.
Yeah, this is looking, this is a very, straightforward seed. Both of our runners have avoided Agina at the moment. That really being, that and Zora being the only two checks down here in the main part of the Light World that have not been taken care of, that they, have available at the moment. But they're also literally on opposite corners and both kind of gross to get to at this moment. So I don't see them going there unless they absolutely feel like they have to.
Yeah, I think if one of them had the Moon Pearl, they might be inclined to give the Fate Flipper up to Zora a check, especially given how close they are with rupees to getting Zora, and Kaesden being 4 over the necessary requirement, just because then you can route in the Hobo check and the 2 for Waterfall Fairy. You can get the information from the Zora's Ledge. Thing is, though, you don't really want a fake flipper there to see a key that you have to go back for later.
Right, with no way to be able to splash delete, that would be kind of a rough thing to potentially see on the ledge. As I missed what was inside Spec Rock Cave, but Scruff did not seem interested in getting it, so...
No, he seems much more interested in the east side, so I don't think it was anything of worth or import.
Yeah, and I don't blame him. I mean, you have that hook shot, you have that glove and lamp, something over here is going to be screaming your name.
Yeah, we have 20 total arrows between the top and the bottom of Spec Rocks, so neither runner is going to care about any of that.
Yeah, it seems like somebody was using Spec Rock for target practice, so not super exciting. Hopefully Paradox Cave, though, will have some goodies for us, like the flippers.
There's the flippers for those flipper checks we were just talking about. Another TR small. Another ball, and our first bottle.
So this is making those water checks a lot more juicy looking. And Scruff being, 35 rupees short, that's not going to be hard to eventually farm up. But Kaesden being able to just immediately go that direction via the portal in front of Link's house and going over by the witch. Although I'm not certain what would be faster, I would imagine that would be.
Well, the portal by the witch to get up to the Zora area would probably be a little quicker, but having Hobo and the Waterfall Fairy on the path up there would probably be the chosen method there.
Oh yeah, ignore me. That's true. I forgot Hobo existed.
I think most of us want to because of how long that check takes.
Yeah. I mean, maybe there will be boots in Spiral Cave. I don't know.
So the only other item of import that we saw here, aside from the flippers and the T-Rock key, was the pod key and the bottle. So we have now the off check and Sick Kid, as they've already been to Kakariko and cleared that out. So for Scruff, not knowing what's on race game and not knowing what's on library, it is a little more incentive to go there. But again, these flipper checks are a bit more juicy for him.
Yeah, I don't see how you don't follow the items in this case. You know, you get those flippers. The seed is basically telling you where to go. If you follow the items, you're going to be in good shape.
And we see that we have bombs on Lake Hallie Island, so another one of those areas where you hate to see a key because it becomes how important is that one going to be? So seeing bombs a bit of a relief, I'm sure, for Scruff there. And I gotta say, the Goomba has the absolute best of the
Swimming
swimming sprites
sprites.
because it's just
Oh
hanging
yeah,
out with that little snorkel. It's great.
that's really cute.
So Kaesden now looking like they're making the exact same play and going the same route for it that Scruff did. So
Yeah, this completely makes sense. You were absolutely right to say this was faster. I really don't know why I completely forgot Hobo, but we'll just,
I'm gonna
we'll
blame it
just
on
hang out.
the fingernails you're lacking.
Yeah, it's kind of painful. Just a little bit.
You know,
Ow.
they make creams and such for that. It's fine.
Yeah. I should really try avoiding that bad habit. Well, Scruff, yeah, getting very, very lucky. He was down rupees for Zora and getting 2 big 20s out of the waterfall cave. So Zora
Yeah,
is in
that
fact
is a
happening.
bailout for sure. And there's that important
Ooh.
item hanging out on the Zora ledge and that hammer.
So we are a moon pearl from Dark World access at this point, with the locations remaining being Sick Kid, Zora, and Agina, if my thoughts on this are correct.
I believe yes.
Oh, and Hera, that's true. Hera is
That
open.
does open us Hera. So now we get to go back up and potentially go back up the mountain. Zora gives us the big key of thieves, which is nice.
Yeah, that's a little required.
Yeah, it actually is a worthwhile 500 rupee spent there.
Oh, mean goodness. Okay, so at this point, yeah, it very well could be a French vanilla moon pearl in Tower of Hera. And because this is AD keys, we have the big key. We can literally check all of this except for the basement, which, I mean, who wants to do Hera tile room anyway, or any tile room for that matter?
Hera Tile Room is one of my favorite rooms in the game. Don't knock it, please.
Oh, I thought your favorite room in the game was Chicken Hut.
No, I love the Chicken Hut, but I like to spend time in Hera Basement.
Okay.
It makes me
Is
feel
there
good.
Okay.
It makes me feel
Okay,
good because Scoople hates it. Oh, hi, Scoople.
Oh, hi, Scoople. I mean, yeah, I was gonna ask that too. Are you a fan of coffee?
I used to be. It gets me a little too jittery now, kind of like you're being a little jittery here with Kaesden running. You know,
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
think you
yeah.
can understand what coffee does to me is what Kaesden's run does to you here, as we have
Apparently.
crossing the bridge.
Right, so we do have a little bit of divergence here. Kaesden is not rushing up to Hera just yet. It looks like he's gonna head over to Agina, and check that one off before heading back up the mountain.
Bit risky, but again, I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier, where you might look to minimize mountain trips, and if he does get a Moon Pearl here, he can go and hang out in the Dark World for a while, potentially get himself some Titan's Mitts before heading back up and save a trip.
Yeah, this is definitely a bit of a gamble, with the way things have been laying out. Again, the items have been kind of telling you go here, go here, go here. And he may be thinking, if Moon Pearl's here, then Dark World, away we go, and that hammer's not really telling me specifically where to go. This is risky for certain.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that he decided to check the desert ledge with that long walk makes me wonder: is he trying to formulate a plan and giving himself time?
Oh!
Oh, okay. There's the Moon Pearl. Risk paid
Oh,
off.
but there's the bow in the Hera big chest. What? So, oh my gosh. Okay, so big pieces of progression on both sides of the screen. We had a Moon Pearl in Agina's cave, which Scruff, after, after not finding a moon pearl here in Hera, will be going there relatively quickly. But oh my gosh, it might be a hot minute before Kaesden makes his way back up to Hera for that bow.
And that's the big thing, right? Kaesden's item is an absolutely fantastic find for this very second. But it opens up so much for him to go ahead and start to diverge away from what might be a needed bow, because we might have the second one hanging out in GT with, crystals in both Eastern and Pod, while Scruff is going to get heavy funneled into Agino without that moon probe very quickly.
Yeah, this is going to be, it's going to be interesting to see what he manages to find here. He did go ahead and do Sick Kid first, which I did miss, but... Or wait, maybe he didn't do Sick Kid first.
So we do see Kaesden hit the Dark World. I don't think he hit Sick Kid. If he did, I missed it as well. I'm going to give us the front of Skullwoods here. I like this. You don't have Titan's Mitts. It's a long walk around to go back out to get down to the village. You may as well hit Skullwoods first, grab whatever items you can from the front here. And again, the philosophy of AD keys kind of goes into the double dipping dungeons is going to be expected and required in most cases. So it doesn't feel as bad to come in here with, your single luxury key and the big key. And actually, no, he can finish this. We do have the fire.
He can full clear this entire dungeon. Yeah, he can take care of this entire thing. Now,
wow. He gets called out with the other bow. What is this seed?
Wow.
Now, I am a little surprised, though, that he didn't decide to go back to front having that fire rod.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised, too, but when I think about it, I'm not as surprised. He only has 5 hearts green mail. He has Master Sword. Well, this is exactly why he was looking. That's exactly why he was looking. He was looking for more hearts. He was looking for a mail. If you get another sword while you're here, too, you're in really, really good shape. Holy cow.
So Leo, I do have to ask, I am contractually obligated to ask this. Did you replace this with a Plando seed that you and Kaesden put together?
I did not. I, in fact, thought that, because I was hanging out in the race time room a little bit before their race started, I legit thought that race time was being buggy because normally when somebody rolls the seed, it does the, little Saha, your seed will be DM'd to you, blah, 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 and it didn't pop up in the chat. So I was like, is it broken? And then all of a sudden I see them readying up. I'm like, oh, well, okay, I guess it's not broken. Cool.
So I've never had the volume turned up. Is that actually what Sahabot sounds like?
I mean, I like to think I'm really good at impressions.
That's fair. So
I mean,
Scruff,
so people have told me.
Well, I like the impression personally. And
Thank
Scruff
you.
is, as we said, going ahead and getting funneled right into the Moon Pro. I believe, and Tabby Cat, his teammate, can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe he checks Agina every single time he goes in that cave. I think that's just his thing.
I didn't realize that was a thing. That's hilarious and awesome. Thank you, Tabby.
He has 2 or 3 different messages, and I believe that Scruff's favorite one is about the fart.
That makes sense, and he did indeed get the fart message. I do not believe either of our runners have made their way over to Sick Kid. As we get our Dark World map check and we see that we have a crystal at Skullwoods and Pod, no pendant pod today, sad day, and a 5/6 at TR. And we already did know about Meyer being that green pendant.
Indeed.
Oh no!
So, Scruff giving us Hype Cave. Kaesden giving us a repeat of the back of Skullwoods.
Yeah.
We get another legendary key from
Meyer. Okay. Ooh.
All key to the dungeon he just left. And then another GT small, which at this point, he has all the GT smalls he needs to be able to hang out in there, which is kind of nice to get that out of the way quickly.
Yeah, I mean, you really only need to logically beat the dungeon. You do need all 4, because the game expects that you open that door between Hope Room and Bob's Torch.
Leo, remember, we're not going to talk about logic.
Oh, yeah. My bad. Anyway, so Ice Palace is our other 5/6 crystal.
So Ice Palace and TR both being the 5/6s means we have a decent amount of items we need to be able to open the Pyramid Fairy. So realistically, we're probably going to see some kind of key in there, if any kind of requirement.
Yeah. So my thought here is, you have 2 pod smalls, you have bow, you have hammer. In fact, at this point, we know that there are 2 bows that exist. How soon after checking out VOO and Skull Woods, how soon do you go over to pod?
With 2 keys, it's tough to really want to go to pod if you're not going to find anything else in Village.
Right.
I get the impression, based on how the seed's going, they're going to find something else in Village. So that wouldn't be a surprising thing to see them go and do. Well, Scruff sits here and does a little bit of the arrow game farming. I like that because he didn't have enough for this dig game that he's going to. Might even hang out and dig game long enough after finding the item, if it's quick, to get the rest of the money he needs to be able to bring Kiki in to pod, to give himself that peace of mind of chess game and pod are also all set. And then basically everything he has from that point forward is luxury rubies.
Yeah, I do like the let's farm rupees at arrow game or here at dig game after we find the item or while we're searching for it, to make sure you have the required ones. As Kaesden pulls the powder from the bridge chest.
So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
So they're not saving the mushroom because that powder is, not a big deal anymore.
Right. Yeah, not super relevant now. At this point, I imagine we're going to see both of our runners hanging out in Village of Outcasts for a little bit.
It'll be interesting to see if Scruff decides to hit Skull Woods before he goes down to the village. He did take my preferred route into the Dark World, just in general, and hitting Hype Cave over to dig game first. So it'll be interesting to see if he decides that that walk around isn't worth it and hits Skull Woods the way Kaesden did. If he does, he'll be nicely rewarded.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like the Hype West play into the Dark World also, but I don't hate Kaesden's decision here. He had Fire Rod, he had Hammer and Master Sword. He's thinking that I can do Skull Woods. Let's go for it. But maybe if I'll find some kind of extra safety along the way, which with Blue Mail he did.
He did.
As we saw a small key on Bumper Ledge. So again, one of those situations where you hope that it's not a required one, but it's way less annoying to get to than the one on Lumberjack.
Oh, that depends on if the one on Lumberjack locks your cape.
Ugh.
I know. I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry.
Calm down.
So the good thing here for Kaesden in having gone to Skull Woods before heading towards that south route is if he does happen to find a mirror here in this Village of Outcasts check, he'll be able to route in Smith and Purple Chest to Hype Cave if he so chooses. Scruff's going to go ahead and get his Titans here and then come down to Village of Outcasts and be able to do the same thing with a little bit more expediency in those without having to worry about going and popping into dig game first, as we now have our first Castle Tower key out of the brewery.
Yeah, it's nice to be given those Castle Tower keys fairly early, because you really don't want to be in a Castle Tower key hunt at the end of the seed.
No, you certainly do not. And where we already have this Swamp Palace small, we don't have the Desert small, which is another one that can elude for a bit. We have one of the 2 hit Castle Tower smalls. We're in pretty good shape as far as smalls go, except that we could still have that one literally anywhere except for where we know one is. One being a standard small key that's not Castle Tower, obviously, because it's on Lumberjack.
Right. Although it could be a Castle Tower key leads us to a cape in Castle Tower to go get the second Castle Tower key on Bumper Ledge.
And you told me to stop it.
That's fair. I need to stop.
So Scruff, meanwhile, picked up his blue mail. He's now the Bloomba, not the Goomba, which is pretty great. So we're going to go with that. And Kaesden's going to continue at the front of Thieves Town here.
Yeah, I mean, always be clearing, right?
Oh, especially when you're in the AD key seat.
Yeah, and I mean, you're going to end up, unless you somehow find a French vanilla small key along the way, you're going to end up isolating that big chest here in Thieves Town. But at the same time, that's not too terrible of a thing to happen. You know, it's awful to get back to, but you just hope then that you never see that Thieves Town small.
Yeah, you hope that thing's buried somewhere, and the item in the chest is remarkably inconsequential. And there are a few spots like that. The Swamp Palace big chest being another one. The Skull Woods big chest being another one. Even Ice Palace's big chest being one. Anything where you don't have that requirement of that key, you want there not to be an item, so you don't have to worry about that spot.
Right. Like it's just gross to have to ever come back to. But it's no big deal. You know, I still think that this is a good choice, and I would be surprised if we don't see Scruff do the same.
Yeah, it is a relatively meta decision to go ahead and isolate things like the Thieves Town big chest. As Scruff does pull his powder prior to going in to get the moth. I like that just because once you kill the boss, there are times where it's just, okay, your brain moves right on to the next thing, and you might accidentally walk away without the item, and you know that you're looking for about 416 other things anyway, so you may as well just get the check out of the way.
Well, and the good thing too is if he had been, for whatever reason, bullied in that Gibdo room too, he could have gone in to get that, he could have gone in to powder that bunny beam before coming back this way. And making use of that stun drop to go ahead and get a free refill before coming into the moth fight.
Yeah, which speaks to that fire rod and the usefulness of it, where Master Sword's okay with Moth, but, you know, as I'm trying to make that point, we lose Moth and gain a second Goomba for a moment and grab a compass to a dungeon that we already know where the boss is.
Yeah, that was a really, really nice Moth fight. Kind of one of those blink and you miss it sort of deals.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's, you know, strain or embarrassment on the bottom Goomba, but there's nothing to be embarrassed about there. That was a good Moth fight.
Yeah, dude. Be happy. Now, a point to be brought up here, because Scruff ended up doing Hera so early, he is going to have silvers for a majority, I mean, really, truly, all but Moldorm boss fight, although, you know, it's not something you're going to need them for. But he's going to have silvers for a lot of the seed, and who knows how long it's going to take Kaesden to get back up there.
Well, I think once we see probably a mirror for Kaesden, he'll want to head back up there. I don't know why the mirror would matter for him in that specific instance, but I just feel like a mirror is in his head for that. Scruff having silvers is going to be huge for things like Vitreous if that's where the seed directs us to prior to needing to head back up the mountain for any reason.
Yeah, I could see eventually if he starts to run out of things to do and has not gotten the mirror, he heads up there to check Dark Death Mountain with those mitts available to him and hookshot and all that good stuff. And maybe doing Hera while he's there as we get our first pendant from Thieves Town.
Yep. And not really anything else of note hanging out in that dungeon, but nice to get it cleared. For the most part now, once Kaesden goes down this west side here, he's done in the dark left side of the world.
Yeah, he has cleared this out pretty quickly. Going to go ahead and get hammer pegs here. I don't see him picking up Jeremiah without a flute or a mirror. Now, if he finds one of those here, that would be pretty nice, but I don't see him picking it up.
Do you think having not checked Sick Kid and having a waddle might drive him to pick him up because he does have a secondary reason to come back over here?
Actually, yeah, he'd have another reason, as Vortex is reminding me, to turn in Magic Bat as well. So, you know, I might be eating my
So that's
words
the check
here.
there.
Yeah, because we got that powder inside Skull Woods.
Yeah, and Scruff has made his cleanup of the village itself and is now going to go ahead and do his Thieves Town clear. And as also pointed out in chat by Vortex, we have full crystal knowledge now. Desert Palace, Thieves Town, and Mire are our three pendants. As the Bomb Man told us, Ice and Turtle Rock are our 5/6s, and then the others are our regular crystals. So as things stand right now, there is one big key that could hang out in GT that could gum us up a bit in that Desert Palace big. Actually, there's two because I'm using Mire as well.
Yeah, that's always a gross possibility that, things that you require for a pendant dungeon could easily be inside GT. Now, on the bright side of that, you know that we're not going to get the Cane of Samaria inside GT because Turtle Rock requires that cane. So it's just going to be keys. And of course,
the keys and the flute,
go ahead,
I believe,
I'm so
now
sorry.
are the only keys and the flute. I believe the only two significant items, barring Misery Mire's medallion, that could gum up things in GT.
Yeah. Oh man, flute and GT would be very, very gross, because that's going to hinder mobility for our runners really, really greatly. Another thing we could have is, if for whatever reason, maybe the desert big key was placed on the torch, boots could be in GT.
Are you saying it was placed on the torch because you put it there? Still not convinced you didn't plan on this.
I mean, look, if I were going to plan to something, I would be so nice to our runners and give them like boots in Link's chest.
Or a Moon Pearl on a Gina. That's the rare one-off check that pays off really well.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
Alright, so we do see Jeremiah hanging out on the backside of Kaesden here, wondering why he's being forced to go away from his home. Maybe feeling a bit kidnapped, may send out an SOS, may not. This might be an adventure for him. We don't know, he doesn't talk.
He doesn't. I just hope that this trip doesn't cause him so much stress that he feels like he needs to croak.
Oh my god, okay. I did not expect a pun from you tonight.
I mean, that's the great thing about my puns, is they're never really expected, they just happen. Anyway.
So, Kaesden going through and giving us what Scruff gave us earlier with the check of Hype Cave, getting a couple of those small keys. Where he hasn't done Hera, that small key is much more than just a worry in the back of his mind. It's the ability to get that peace of mind of doing that dungeon all at once.
And Kaesden opting to not finish out the world tour. He did not venture to the pyramid and catfish for right now.
From the chat perspective, I'm disappointed, but from the runner perspective, I can certainly see why he wouldn't, just because those are two decently long checks to walk to, and you might hope to get yourself some boots before you have to go there.
Yeah, this is 100% true. I think that it worries me to leave another one-off check there in Catfish, but at the same time, Catfish kind of is a gross check no matter what. And since our runners have already done the Zora area, even a mirror is not going to really incentivize to go up that way.
So Scruffin on blind fell off the script rather immediately. Kaesden also had fallen off the script and recovered relatively nicely from it. I anticipate we'll see Scruff do the same, as he's probably fought this boss more times than he cares to admit, and also has that blue potion to keep himself nice and safe.
Yeah, definitely needed to use that big potion, as Kaesden pulls the big key of Eastern Palace off of the Magic Bat today. So that's a nice find. That is a fully clearable dungeon now. The question is he going to head up to Dark Death Mountain and Hera before going over that direction, considering he still does not have a mirror?
Well, he doesn't have a mirror, and he doesn't have a pod big, but he does have a cane of Samaria.
He does have a cane. Wow. So Smith Chain paying out today. So far, the question is, will Purple Chest pay out as well? And we're not going to find out for a bit.
If TR is Bombos, we can get in there and get all the way to Laser Bridge.
Oh, gross. True. Yeah.
And Sick Kid giving us a map to show us how to get to Laser Bridge.
I mean, having all of the knowledge we need now, it's a little less exciting. Where? I guess Kaesden is going to go ahead and grab the purple chest? Going to continue following those myths in this area since they've already been giving out so much, so much progression. I mean, really, truly.
Yeah. It feels a little greedy, but I do like it in the sense of, again, it totally wipes this side of the map from the rest of his mind. I myself, being one of those quadrant style of clearers, like it. I also lose races because of it. This could be a situation where he does too. This could also be another situation where he pulls something like the Moon Pearl off Agina, and we're all sitting here with our jaws on the floor.
Yeah, this is, I mean, really, truly, if something is here, though, and Scruff opts to leave it, you know, this could be a really, really big play. I get it, but it feels very, like you had mentioned, I think greedy was the right word. Especially since those myths are also pushing you towards the mountain.
Yeah, the myths are pushing towards the mountain. Your big key, your 3 keys, your fire rod, your hammer, and your chance of potentially opening Turtle Rock. And not to mention the fact that you could also find the thing that you need to open Turtle Rock in your plethora of checks on DDM, where we get that 3rd Guinness Tower key. So yet another luxury key coming out of our locksmith box. I wonder if he used the Guinness Tower key to open it to give it to us.
I mean, again, it's not like a necessary find, but it's not a bad find either. The question now is, you know, before heading up, I imagine Kaesden is going to hit up Hera very, very quickly here. I can't see why he would just go straight into the Dark World without a mirror to get back.
Yeah, I would imagine Hera's the first play, clear that dungeon out, and then go ahead and hit the Dark World and get there. Because if he gets the mirror out of Hera, that makes things easier. If he gets the mirror out of Dark World without doing Hera, he gets bailed out.
Right. And, you know, a good point to mention, you know, we saw that Hera small key in Height Cave. You know, if something ends up being here, Scruff is going to have to come all the way back for that basement, which isn't going to be too terrible considering he hasn't done Dark Death Mountain, but it's still a double dip of a dungeon in a location you really don't want to do. In this kind of situation where Hera is where Hera is like accessible through hookshot and hammer, I feel like you have to do this. I feel like you have to do the basement.
I feel like in 80 keys, you just have to do the basement. If you're there with an opportunity. Like, skipping it while you have the key while in the dungeon, to me, is just taking too big of a risk. Similar to pulling the purple chest and walking it down as the last item, which both of our owners have decided to do today. Scoople, do you not like the Hera basement because it's your bedroom? I'm just wondering.
Who doesn't like their bedroom?
Scoople, apparently, because he doesn't like Hera basement.
I do want to ask. I mean, I feel like I'll have to ask him later, but I am curious if Hera basement would be more appealing if potatoes were in Hera basement.
Oh, I'm sure it would be. And I do like that Kaesden decided to go and get smacked up by a few of those tiles, set up a death warp from this room here. Getting $300, another luxury pull, but that peace of mind of not having to go back down into Scoople's room is really nice.
It's just Scoople's room.
I mean, if you're gonna pun, I gotta start throwing things out there that you're not expecting.
No, I appreciate. So what I did not expect to see here was was an Ice Palace play, and I feel like I should have expected it. We have literally everything we could possibly need for it.
And we got all of it really quickly when you really think about it. The mitts came right after the Moon Pearl going into Skull Woods. Having the Canis Maria gives us that beautiful, beautiful icebreaker.
Yeah, the only thing that he can't be getting here is that big chest because we are missing a big key. But I mean, realistically, that's still a lot that he can do here.
Yeah, and if he finds the right items in here to give himself that little bit more of an edge in going up the mountain, like, say, I don't know, an ice rod hanging out in the icy caves, he will be able to clear Turtle Rock by, virtue of abandoning the lava bridge. But again, these are different skips that runners often just decide they're going to make.
Yeah, and we're getting pieces of tech on both sides. Kaesden having a little bit of trouble with his Harapot today, finally gets that pixel lined up, as Scruff is working on breaking some ice over on the right side of the screen.
Now, when I see Icebreaker, I always just imagine the sprites jumping over the wall. Do you think the Goomba actually has the ups to do that?
I mean, I think that if he summons his buddy, then yeah. But I think it might. It's like a Yoshi situation in Super Mario World, right? Like where in some cases you have to sacrifice the Yoshi to be able to make it.
Scruff just made this a very nice seed. He found the second castle tower key, thank God.
Oh wow. Okay, so now we're just in an ice rod hunt. No big deal.
So
I mean, there's 17 other items we need, but
Yeah, that is the one item that haunts you in an 80 key seed the longer it goes when you don't have it. So the fact that we now have the second one and it's in a very accessible location, not one that either of our runners is likely to skip. Obviously, Scruff already has it. Kaesden's not going to skip that chest, and if he does, well, that's just weird. So Ice Palace paying out really well in that regard.
Yeah, I completely agree. And so at this point, we have 3 TR keys. We can get every chest except for lava chests if we want to save a key for Trinex. How far without the ice rod do you go?
I go all the way to Lisbridge.
I'm inclined to agree. We'll see if Kaesden agrees through his actions. I mean, he can't exactly tell us right now because, audio and race and things and 10-minute delay.
So technically, he's already done it. We just don't know. Unless he said the slowest Turtle Rock ever.
That's a really good point. I mean, obviously, you check Super Bunny and Hookshot Cave before you do. That's not something that we considered. We didn't even consider the fact that, hey, we might not be able to get into Turtle Rock. Not that it's an issue. It's Bombos. We're good.
I'm fairly confident if it wasn't Bombos, we were going to find the medallion for it in either Super Bunny or Hookshot Cave. The early
with no mirror.
Yeah, absolutely. The early items to Turtle Rock were just, as CJ had mentioned in chat there, just screaming, "Hi, I'm here."
Hello. All right, as we got Scruff entering the cold stare fight, making use of Bombos and switching over to the Fire Rod to get some hits with that as well. Not a terrible fight with Master Sword, but it definitely could be nicer. Getting some really good Fire Rod hits there. And taking down the Puffs really, really nicely and very quickly.
Yeah. For a Master Sword Cold Stare fight, that was really nice. And while he was doing that, we did find our second pendant's big key, which is drastically reducing our GT fears, and now we only have the Misery Mire big key and the flute that can hang out in there. And hello,
there's an ice rod. Wow. Okay, so at this point, full clearing Turtle Rock and just getting it situated. I imagine we'll see Kaesden hit up Ice Palace not long after doing this. And I imagine maybe a Pyramid Fairy into Pod check, maybe Eastern first since you can full clear it and you have no idea where that mirror is just yet.
Well, the thing though is they've already been to Eastern, so they're only going to get the item out of the big chest and off of Armos.
Right, but if you can go ahead and clear it, I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends also how many pod smalls that they walk out of TR with. Since we did not find any in Ice Palace.
We didn't find any Ice Palace, and I don't think we found any in the village, did we? We've had 2 for a while.
Yeah, we've had 2 for quite a while. Scruff is going to go ahead and take his bows over to Eastern to take care of it as Kaesden gets his kicks.
So now he can get that shovel off a library if that's eating away at his soul.
I mean, I really hope it's not eating away at his soul, because shovel, meh. But at the same time,
Fetch quest.
Yeah, it's a fetch quest. The thing is, you got all these Turtle Rock items super early, and it very easily could be pushing you to having gotten those boots. If he doesn't get anything else out of here, I might go ahead and say get that shovel and check that dig spot.
Oh, see, and just like that, you talked yourself into the fetch quest. I like it.
I know, I did it on my own. Aren't you proud of me?
Am. Okay, so Scruff going ahead and giving us that fun little shoot them with the arrows before they appear trick there in the Stalfos room. Went a little too low, got that middle one to show up, but, all it really told us was that one wanted to die today too.
Yeah, NBD. No big deal.
So Scruff is going to give us this Eastern Palace Big, which is a tempered sword, which is a very nice find, as it is our largest proportionate damage upgrade in the game.
Alright, Kaesden getting a bit bullied by these chomps. They are being fairly rude.
Bullied and murdered are 2 different words.
Yeah, I was just about to say it. You beat me to it. He got bit a little bit. Trying to conserve that magic and not opting to use the Samaria block placement, but man, that's painful.
Yeah, a little bit, but if you're gonna die in Turtle Rock, that's probably the last room that you feel okay dying in because of how quickly you can get back to it.
Yeah, that's true. It's not super tricky to have to get back to. At least, it's here early on in the dungeon. But man, it's, a death is a death, and deaths don't feel good.
No, they don't, unless you're death warping. As we clear up the Armos Knights, and I missed it because I blinked and he has silvers, so I didn't see the item. Quick scan of the tracker says that there probably wasn't anything interesting off the Armos Knights there, but we do find ourselves with another crystal there over on Scruff's side. He's quickly racking up dungeons here. He has 5 done. So you have Scruff going into Castle Tower. He can clear it if he wants to. He might because of that key that's hanging out in the back. On Lumberjack. He doesn't know where the boots are, but he might be thinking, clear it out, get the key when he gets the boots, and have the ability to do so right immediately.
Well, and this also is going to give him, I mean, not that, he doesn't have the hammer and the gloves, but this is also going to give him really quick Dark World access for when he eventually does Turtle Rock and can do Big Bomb.
That's true too. And Vortex pointing out that the likelihood of that key being consequential is drastically diminishing with every check we make here. Really, just taking a quick glance at the trackers here, Desert Palace small being back there and having some kind of progression item behind it is really the only thing I can immediately think of that could have a high probability, and high being in relation to any of the others.
Yeah, at this point, I think the only really key that we'd be looking for other than that would maybe be another pod key. But again, there are 6 pod keys. You only need 4 to clear the dungeon with shenanigans, 5 to kind of comfortably clear it. There's still 4 more out there somewhere. I don't know if this is necessarily a required thing at the moment.
So we know we have one weird little one hanging out on the lumberjack ledge. I feel like we saw another one somewhere that we couldn't access, but it might
Bumper
be...
ledge.
Okay, that was it. So those could be 2 of them, which, for Scruff, if that is 2 of them, doing this will work out decently, as he will be able to get to 5 if the cape's in a relatively inaccessible location based on the routing.
Yeah, I don't hate this play. I really don't. I think that this is, a good or a decent choice to make. Oh, Kaesden, throw the pot. There you go. This is a decent choice to make, as far as even just having that gate access goes. It's really not bad. I just don't know if it's necessarily one that I would have rushed for just really 2 checks. But to each their own. I mean, that small key there could be a big deal.
It could be, and the other part of it too is, with this being 80 keys and the different levels and layers to how you want to go about routing it, because ultimately a lot of people refer to this as basically the execution check, right? You're going to have somewhere around 200 check stuff for the most part, because you need almost every item in the game, or you need to at least look to see where every item in the game is, and they could be anywhere. So routing it is a more critical piece than a lot of people talk about, and he might just be doing the Aga play here to give himself a few minutes to think about what might be the most optimal way to go about going through the rest of the seed.
I mean, yeah, just having think time is an excellent point. Especially in 80 keys, because holy cow. There's a lot.
There certainly is, and we have a downed Aga, while we have a Trinex fight going on over there with Kaesden.
Just some bombs on the pyramid ledge, so nothing missed out so far by Kaesden's choice to leave after Hype Cave, as he gets the small key to Desert.
Okay, so that essentially makes the key in the back of Lumberjack Luxury at this point, unless it's the Thief Town Small that is locking something behind the Thief Town Big chest.
Yeah, this is absolutely true. We are okay, so thinking about what we need here, right? We still need at least 2 pod smalls and a pod big, right? We need a mire big.
Well, it depends on what we have in pod, right? We only need a pod big to beat pod. So unless something we need is in there, we're good on pod.
That's true. That's completely fair. Yeah, you're right. We wouldn't need it to... We would need 2 more to full clear pod, but to beat it, yeah, we just need the big key. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, because they do need 4 for that L word we're not talking about tonight, but, they certainly don't feel the need to be beholden to that, as they have evidenced through this entire race.
Absolutely true. Now, we do still need, for certain, a mirror, a flute, and a mire big. Which the flute and the mire big could, as we mentioned before, be in Ganon's tower, which is gross.
Yep. Or it could be that the book isn't in Ganon's tower and the flute's on the tablet. And the big key on the other one.
Yeah, this is true. So, Kaesden kind of taking the route that Vortex had mentioned in chat earlier, King's Tomb into Bonk Rocks, more than likely going to pick up that shovel from the library and hit up the dig spot while on his way to Ice Palace, just make a nice loop.
Yeah, this would have been a much nicer loop if he was able to get the mirror prior to and hit Graveyard Ledge and possibly even go hit Catfish and then, head south that way. But at this point, it's really just clearing out the overworld to avoid orphaning too much of it, I think.
But man, at this point, yeah, I mean, you know me and Pod. We go way back.
Yes. Yes, you guys do. You are besties.
We are besties, but only if he's feeling in a pendant mood, and Pod is not in a pendant mood today, so I don't know how I necessarily feel about dipping Pod with 2 keys, but at the same time, like, you're starting to run out of things. Like, we know that Scruff needs to hit up the mountain, right? Because that's where his boots are, that's where his ice rod is. You know, we know that that's where a good chunk of progression is, but there very easily could be something right in here waiting. There could be a mirror in here. You know, there could be
here. There could be a pod small too.
Yeah.
I mean, the number of times, just because of the sheer number of checks there are in pod, that there is a vanilla pod small key, not in the literal chess sense, but dungeon sense. It is a more common occurrence than it is for most any other dungeon that we see.
All right, so this shovel
is a small key to Thieves Town.
Oh.
Okay, so now our key behind the lumberjack has become completely trivial.
Yeah, at this point, unless it somehow weirdly, for whatever reason, would lock something. I don't know what it would lock, but
last thing it can lock now, I believe, is the TR lava chest.
Yeah, you're right. And
that is our last lock. And for me, that is a very easy write-off. I think that based on the keys he's gotten to this point, Kaesden will probably save Aga for that pre-Ganon fight to get himself that free refill to hang out at the top of the pyramid before he drops in.
So just to recap for folks who have just joined, this is an open league match during week 6 of our league tournament. 80 keys week are all dungeon key sanities. This is Team Please Clap versus Team Hyrule Track and Field, both of which are sitting at 7 wins right now, and are kind of vying for those last, or the top 2 spots in the group. And it's a little bit of a, it's kind of a big match. Both of the matches this week are going to be super scary. Just to leave it at that.
Because it's Hyrule Track and Field, Please Clap, and Boomer Friendly all hanging out in that 21-point range at the top of the Desert Palace division. And where Boomer Friendly's not facing one of these 2 teams, they get an opportunity to pull ahead of the field while one of you guys gets to knock the other one down.
Yeah, and this is kind of our last chance to be playing against each other, because after this, we next week, I know Please Clap is playing Land of the Blind. I believe Hyrule Track and Field is playing Swedish Rubbers. I'm going to confirm that. No, I am a liar. Hyrule Track and Field is playing Skewed by 6 Cubed.
So Kaesden went into Eastern. It surprises me that from the shovel he didn't just run over the ice.
You know, though, I don't know. I have no idea what he could possibly be thinking other than let's just go ahead and take care of Eastern really quick. Get the last 2 checks here.
This could be his think time.
Yeah, I mean, really, truly, this very well could be his think time. You know, you're going in, you know what you have to grab in here. It's not really much of anything.
Scruff, you can't kill the dead rocks. Quit hitting them. They're dead. Stop it.
You could actually kill them, but you have to powder them first.
He's not powdering them. He's just beating them. Well, it's almost like he has a grudge.
Maybe they looked at him funny.
He does see eye to eye with him at the level of that sprite. That is true.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of... I mean, they are jerks. Let's be honest.
So I was on the open part of my blink when Kaesden was in there with the Armor Knights, and they only dropped us a piece of heart, so there was nothing of consequence there earlier when Scruff was there. So peace of mind of having the dungeon done, but nothing of real value coming out of that.
But a good point to make, though, is Kaesden's going to have Tempered Sword for his eventual Ice Palace dip.
Yeah, which will make his fight probably about as quick as Scruff's was.
Scruff had a ridiculously good concert fight. Yeah, this is true. You're right.
So Scruff's on the mountain and has the cane of Burna, rather. And I don't think we saw Kaesden do Spike Cave.
He did indeed do Spike Cave. I don't remember it
Yeah,
being
I think there might have
anything
been a
of...
heart, some piece of heart in there somewhere. I think. Maybe.
Yeah, it wasn't anything super exciting.
Okay. So Brenna's not going to give us anything new.
No, it's not. And at this point, you know, we're kind of just having a moment of following in footsteps. So, quick shout out to our runners. You know, this is a race. I mean, it's very unclear which way this race is going to go at this point, especially since they really are truly following in each other's footsteps here. The only thing that Kaesden has not done that Scruff has is Ice Palace, but I imagine we'll see that soon, TM. But this is definitely a race. So definitely shout out to our runners for putting on the show for us. And another shout out to our, if I can type correctly, shout out to our tracker, Kono Tyron, and our restreamer, Ricky of Kokiri. And, you know, shout out to Penguin for doing the talkie thing with me.
I try. I just say words and hope they make sense. They often don't.
I mean, they're coming out understandable, so that's something.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
All right, so
All right. Oh, yeah.
Going into the Bolok side. Scruff taking an intentional piece of damage so that he can get into that door quicker over here in Turtle Rock. He's going to come through here, likely just going to take out Trinex and wonder where he's going next. Because aside from those boots, I don't really think there was anything of consequence here in Turtle Rock.
Oh man, and I thought our calls were bad, but man, chat is just being vicious.
Chat is a well-oiled machine on being able to put together the worst possible scenarios in the shortest period of time.
Because it's man, Bumper Ledge key being Turtle Rock key number 4, Lava Chest being Mirror, Mimic Cave being Flute. But then I just have to ask, where in the world is your cape?
So Tabby's saying Mirror on Ped, and I personally would love to see that, only because that means we don't have to go to GT for Meyerbeek.
Yeah, that's true. If Mirror's on Ped, that's actually like a really good case scenario for our runners. It's gross, but I mean, that means nothing is locked in GT.
And we just need a moment to appreciate the 8-bit Goomba that is the bunny sprite.
I love this game.
So, as I mentioned earlier, the palette swap that we have here is part of the new update that's out for the randomizer. We're now on version 31.0.7, I believe. I may have too many points in there. I may not. I don't remember. As we see a pop from Kaesden.
That sounds right to me. 31.0.7? That sounds right.
So, and this palette swap has been pleasant. Others in the past have given us an almost indiscernible type wall at times in some places, which for some lineups of things like Terrapot or Hammered Jump would be a bit more difficult for runners. This, though, seems to be a bit softer and actually usable.
Yeah, I was going to say this palette shuffle update is really, really quite nice. This is not as much a strain and eyesore as I thought it was potentially going to be, as palette shuffles have been in the past.
Yeah, so shout outs to our algorithm writer for the palette shuffle, because it has been good.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so I feel like we need something big to happen. You know, I feel like we've been kind of sitting in this following each other around bit, and I know Kaesden is probably going to be hitting up Ice Palace after this, so we're still going to be in that mode. We need something to kind of shake things up here. The question is, what are we going to find?
Vortex says catfish, and I look at that and think, oh my, yep.
Yeah, and Kaesden is setting up a death warp, so he very well could be heading that direction. Oh man, catfish. That's a gross possibility, and getting more and more likely as we see the dashes, they're happening.
Yeah, and important note too that Kaesden opted for that death warp and saving a key. So if he does get something like, say, the pod big out of catfish, he can go back and just immediately clear Helmasaur and forego the other two one-off awful spots that exist in the Harmless Hellway and our Vanilla Big Key check.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Gosh, I think I don't know how much is left of my fingernails at this point.
No, I'd say you're down to just cuticles, but that's fine.
I mean,
wrap them up and put some hydrogen peroxide on them, they'll be all right.
Yeah. There might it's getting out of hand. But really, truly, this has been a run. This has been a race. It's still not in any point to say who is ahead at this point, because it's there isn't. I mean, at this point you have on Scruff's side, he has done an Ice Palace and an Agate Tower over Kaesden. But as far as Agate Tower goes, it's not a huge game, because Kaesden could easily do Agate Tower right before the Ganon fight, which will give him actually a full health refill right before Ganon as well. Cleared?
I typed it instead of saying it. Alright, so catfish paying off with nothing but a compass, so that is not our answer here.
No, it is not.
Scruff now with those boots going to retrace where Kaesden went into the King's Tomb or Bonk checks. May actually make that trip now down to see Race Game and the library, because I still believe he has not done that.
He did check it out before going to Agina, if I remember correctly, early on when he got his Moon Pearl.
Ah, okay. That would make sense.
Yeah, because I think he went ahead and did those 2 checks realizing he hadn't yet, before hitting up. Yeah.
Okay, so Kaesden's going to give us Ice Palace, which then is going to give us Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah, that's definitely a stop that Scruff can make as well. Oh my,
Okay,
this is...
So, everything I said about the Palace swap is a lie.
No, I love it. I love this. This is beautiful. This is wonderful. This is everything I wanted in a palette shuffle and more.
My room is relatively dark, and so my eyes now hurt.
Oh my gosh, this is beautiful.
Hey, the little duck gators there look like they're sprinkling glitter on the floor.
I just imagine that's canon. That's exactly what's happening here. I am just so excited. So that was Scruff went ahead and did Lumberjack Ledge and found the last TR small key on Lumberjack. So Lava Chest?
Now, if it is Lava Chest, that means that the logic of the seed, and yes, I know we weren't going to talk about it, but because it's just so obvious, I have to, right?
How dare
wanted
you?
us to go into Turtle Rock to get the boots, to go to Lumberjack to get that key to go back to Lava Chest.
Yep. I mean, the boots were the first chest, so it's
it didn't set us into Turtle Rock, but it still sent us into Turtle Rock.
Yeah.
So Scruff picking up his shovel, gonna have that run over, get himself the luxury key, I believe is what we saw out of... Oh no, was it Desert Palace? No, nope, not that one. This was the Thief's Town.
This was the Thieves' Town small.
So this will be interesting to see if he does decide that the Thieves' Town big key is a worthwhile check, or if he's going to go ahead and give us that Pyramid Fairy first.
I mean, I like the Pyramid Fairy play a little bit more than rushing back to Thieves' Town. Pyramid Fairy is a new check. You're not double dipping a dungeon, but on top of that, you also are getting, you're following your progression as opposed to rushing back for something that could hopefully potentially be nothing. Plus, you've got 2 chests over 1.
Yep, and as Tabby points out, where he hasn't gone and hung out with the catfish to get disappointed there, he can go ahead and pair that in as well and get himself the 3rd check. And I think almost put himself on par with the overall checks with Kaesden. If not completely on par at that point. Actually, with Pyramid Fairy, I think he'd be ahead of him.
Yeah, at this point, I think Scruff does have a bit of a lead. You know, having completed what he's completed so far, it's, you know, Kaesden was ahead in some things, but I don't think that he's been pushed ahead enough by that early-ish boots find. I don't want to say early, because it was just earlier than Scruff, but it wasn't early.
Yep, and so we are going to see the wall explode, and perhaps see what the fairy gives us from a bottle, as I believe Scruff did use one. We have a cape.
Oh gosh. Well, there's our other small key that is on the cape, or on the bumper ledge.
And we're getting max value bottle out of the fairy there with the blue goo. So now we can go get the other key off bumper ledge, which at this point, I think for it to be of any consequence at all, it has to be a pod key.
Right. Man, this seed is just weird.
Yeah,
as far as like
you wrote it, so
go.
it would be.
Look, if I wrote it, do you think I'd be saying Scruff was ahead?
Yes, I do, because you're trying to hide the fact that you wrote it.
Shh. Okay, look, Penguin, look. I need not all of my secrets to be out there, man. Come on.
Right, so yeah, Kaesden did do the Stalfos basement, and it was not an item of consequence. So,
right.
If Scruff did indeed skip that, which I believe he did, it's not going to come back and bite him. Only potential for bite there is if he does wind up in that last location mindset and starts looking into places because he wants to go everywhere but where he needs to, for that last item.
Yeah, this is very quickly becoming a seed of, who can find the single thing in a double dipped dungeon first. And that's gross. This seed's gross.
So we do have the Thieves Town big chest left, and I think that's really about it, aside from that key potentially giving us something from Bumper Ledge.
Yeah, and I mean, I imagine what we're going to see here is we're going to see Scruff go ahead and do Bumper Ledge, and then if it's... I don't think he's going to follow this new key immediately. I think that we'll see him maybe hit up Thieves Town and check that big chest.
He really wouldn't have any better time to do it than now, based on current equipment, and it makes the most sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, and you're already here. Like, you're already in the Dark World. You're already in the general area. I don't see you not.
Yeah, you're a few screen transitions with boots away. Really no better time to go ahead and grab it if you want to get that out of the way. And we do indeed have the pod small, and he surprises me by saving and quitting.
Yeah, I mean, so with 3 keys, I mean, I don't know key logic well enough. I really don't. I'm a little surprised by the play. I'm even more surprised to see him going up the mountain.
I know I opened the door for it, but L word.
I mean, yeah, but I'm confused. Hera basement?
This does look like
I mean, it's got to be Spike Cave. Yeah, he doesn't have a mirror.
This looks like a Spike Cave play. We know that Spike Cave wasn't anything fun. He might go ahead and do Hera basement after this. Try and get the rest of his mountain checks out of the way before going back down.
Yeah, this is definitely on the weird side, though. I don't hate it, but I mean, you have to save and quit from here.
Well, at this point, too, with the minimal number of checks they have, it becomes which one do you feel is best to get out of the way, as opposed to which one do you feel is the one your opponent's less likely to go to.
Right, and we do see, Kazen's gonna go ahead and finish off Aga. He got his cape. It's, gosh. Tabby, I think that this siege just really wanted us to be freaking out. I think that's all this wanted. It really wanted to give some kind of race where it's just gonna stress us out.
Yeah, because as we see Scruff going up the mountain, this likely is going to be that Scrupple's room into TR play. So that'll clear out those two pieces that he had left on the mountain. I believe that covers everything up here with the exception of GT. So until we do find what we need to clear out the last crystals, he can have a peace of mind of, I don't need another mountain climb until basically the end.
Unless we find a book. Because Ether Tablet.
That's fair.
The big unless.
But with boots and hookshot and the ability to get that quick little run and the dash up the stairs, Ether Tablet's not all that bad when you save and quit to the old man.
No, it's just, it's... I mean, oh gosh, Ether Tablet... What if Ether Tablet has the mirror, though?
Then that is a great place to go and get some.
This is so gross. This is so much. But if he does find a book in the TR lava chest, like, that's big, that's desert, that's Ether Tablet, that's no, it's not Bombo's tablet, you don't have the mirror, but you have, a plethora of checks that open there.
Yep, so he's finishing at her basement now. We know that this is not it. We know that the potential for items that he's going to find, it has to be hanging out in that Turtle Rock lava bridge, which...
Yeah, stealing from Moldarm's stash.
So with his third pod key, he gets the TR lava bridge. That's going to give us some form of progression if it's not Thieves Town Big. And at that point, it's just literally following that item because you have nothing else left.
Yeah, it's really bottlenecking. It's bottlenecking you into a few kind of gross last checks, and it's just a matter of which gross last check do you go to first.
And it's interesting that this seed bottlenecked so quickly because it started out so linearly and then opened up so quickly and then just shrunk right back down on us. And I am actually surprised at this point that Scruff doesn't just pull out the powder and kill the dead rocks, because he clearly has a vendetta.
I mean, don't you?
I don't blame him. I didn't say I don't. I'm just pointing out the obvious.
I mean, true. Alright, so chat version of me is super, super excited to see what is in this lava chest. And is hoping that it's a thing because it's gross. The please clap in me is saying, God, no, please, no, let this be nothing, no.
I'm going to be completely honest, and I don't want it to be Red Mill because I haven't come up with a clever name for Red Goomba yet.
Oh man, wait, what's your clever name for Blue Goomba? Bloomba?
Bloomba, yeah.
Yeah, Bloomba. That makes sense. That's a good one.
Yeah,
That's a good
it's
name.
An obvious one.
Nice and solid. Yeah. Oh yeah, Deep Blue with the plays here. Roomba.
Roomba. Absolutely. Why did I not see that?
I don't know. Why didn't you see it?
Mirror.
Oh no! No!
And you can tell there's a little bit of frustration there from Scruff giving us that slash and swirl around there, that dance, if you will. So now with the mirror, making the instinctual play to me is save and quit and get the hell out of there and go to Swamp Palace. He is making the absolute right play in rushing Mimic Cave because he's here.
Yes, agreed. I mean, this is 100% what you do. You follow the mirror, and the closest mirror progression is in Mimic Cave. You do this.
And I think it
You
speaks
do
to a
this.
bit of self-control, though, that he didn't just immediately save and quit and go, I have a lot of mirror check to check.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I am terrified right now. Again, goodbye fingers.
So now we've gone from Scoople's bedroom downstairs in Terra's basement, and now we're going to Kaesden's in the Mimic Cave. So which one of them was hiding the items? We know it wasn't Scoople.
Yeah. Well, this is true. This is true. Okay, nothing in Mimic Cave.
We're down to mirror checks, including Swamp Palace, which is not anything to scoff at, any way, shape, or form. And then that Thieves Town Big chest, which is starting to dwindle.
Yeah, Kaesden heading here to... Oh, Kaesden's gonna go for it.
He's gonna the Thieves Town Big chest. So
yeah,
dwindle away, because we're going to see it.
Come on, flute in Thieves Town. Let's go, please.
Is Scruff doing the same thing?
Is he? Wait, what?
Or is
no?
Where he's
Graveyard
going,
Ledge.
he's going either Graveyard Ledge or Thieves Town Big, or Thieves Town Big and Graveyard Ledge.
Yeah, this is a Graveyard Ledge play.
Okay, he's going Graveyard Ledge.
This is good.
This I like. Getting the mirror, I would not feel great about going into Thieves Town. I feel like if you make the choice to go and leave Thieves Town without having gone down and doing everything, it makes sense to go back in because you have to clear it. But where you've left only the big chest, you're kind of committing to the idea of it's not going to be there. I don't disagree with Kaesden's idea of doing Thieves Town Big Chest before going up the mountain, just to, again, try and save that mountain trip, because those become a bit more valuable in an 80 key situation. But where the mirror in Scruff's hand there, it would shock me to see him go back to the Thieves Town Big Chest before going and doing something like the 10 checks in Swamp Palace, I think it is.
Well, and Kaesden also still needs to get that key off of Bumper Ledge, that pod key off of Bumper Ledge. He hasn't done it yet. Big key, 2 pod.
Okay,
that's big.
Wow.
Oh my god.
You have to words because I can't.
Okay, so it's possible that Scruff goes ahead and grabs that while he's here, but when you have so many mirror checks open to you, I would not be shocked if we do see him just skip out. But oh my gosh.
Going to Thieves Town Big Chest? No, he's
passing it up. Oh my gosh, so this is a race, y'all. This is still a race.
I cannot fault him for going to K45 here right into Swamp. I mean, 1 check in Thieves Town, it is a few minutes. This is absolutely the most logical play to make. It's just one where he is going to still have the last location, that pod big key. And as I said earlier, Kaesden saved a pod key, so he is able now to just go in there and kill Helma if he wants to.
Now, Kaesden did not do Bumper Cave. He saved and quit straight from the Thieves Town Big Chest without going to Bumper Cave for a pod key. So he is going to use his last key getting to Helma here. But at the same time, it's not... All he has left inside pod are the Vanilla Big Key Chest and Harmless Hellway. You have 2 checks in here. If you had that key, you're basically 50-50ing which one you're going to get. But, oh my gosh, yeah, if he gets nothing from Helmasaur, then he's going to be pushed up the mountain towards Turtle Rock to that lava chest, gonna get that mirror, and be following Scruff into Swamp and these other checks here.
Because you mentioned he didn't grab the Bumper Ledge key. I could see him, because for him, Lava Bridge is the only thing left up there. Scruff still hadn't done the Spike Cave, he still hadn't done the Hera basement. So he had a better reason to go there.
I think Kaesden will check Bumper Cave after this. I think he'll do the hookshot around, which isn't fast. But I think that he is going to do that, and then he's going to go up the mountain in lieu of triple dipping pod.
We have a
Roomba. Room.
Once again, thank
Swamp
you,
floors
for
never looked cleaner.
Oh
my gosh. I have palpitations right now, yo. This is a race.
And to answer the question in chat of would you go mode Swamp, bank on Flute and GT if you felt behind, I personally, if I felt behind, I would anticipate my opponent doing that, so I would do left side swamp.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if you're still missing, because at this point you're still missing 2, maybe 3 things, because we are not considering the fact that medallions exist as well.
Yep.
I think you have to do left side swamp with the number of things you're missing. Now you don't have to. You could gamble that all 3 things that you need for Meyer are sitting in GT, but that's a lot of gambling. And you got 2 chests here that you don't really want to have to come back for. Just do it.
Yeah, you have the ability
to
do it. You have he has Kain too. He has all the power to do the diver down. He is going to go ahead and be thorough with this, not leave anything to chance here. I like it.
Yeah, I do too. I think that this is I think that this is the right play to make. Now, mind you, if Helmasaur drops flute or something, I don't know necessarily if I don't know if I would necessarily feel so obligated to do left side swamp, but it's also 80 keys. Like, 80 keys is kind of essentially like clear the game as quickly as you can.
Yeah, indeed. Now, we didn't see a flute off of Helmasaur. We could see Kaesden go back in for the big chest as he's here. But if he did find a flute, though, he would be able to go get that medallion knowledge off of Misery Mire and be able to make a determination of, I'm now 2 items because he still wouldn't have his mirror, or 3 items from Goma. So Kaesden is opting not to go and hit the big chest. I don't blame him. It is a long trip from Bodlock's side up to the big chest. And also not going back to Bumper Ledge, so you were correct in thinking that he's going to go hit TR, which we know for him is going to pay off greatly. Okay, so what happened if a Roomba's running around with butter? I feel like that's not very conducive to cleaning.
I mean, have you seen some of those dust bunnies?
Are you saying you can attract them with butter?
I'm saying that you might need to fight them off with the butter.
That's fair.
I mean, Penguin, I do believe that you have a cat. You have a couple cats.
I do, they're great.
They are wonderful, but they also are messy and hairballs.
One of them's long-haired too, so maybe after,
yeah, even more so.
Yeah, maybe after the race, Scruff will let me borrow his Roomba so I can clean up.
Hey, there you go.
Ooh. And we have Book and Swamp.
Okay, some soggy literacy. But you know what? This is gonna push him even further away from Thieves Town because he's gonna go over to Desert following that.
Yeah, there's
he's gonna hit a Bombo's tablet. Yeah.
You go Bombo's tablet from here, right over, and actually, yeah, because that's the most sensible play. And then he'd be finishing Desert. He's able to full clear it, having the boots, the small key, and the big key, and his fire source, and his gloves. So, yeah, that could pay dividends for him in giving him the Meyer key. But then, again, that double-edged sword of pushing him away from Thieves Town.
Yeah, at this point, you know, it's still really hard to say what's happening here. You know, it's, as Vortex is saying, the more progression that Scruff finds, the worse it's going to be for him.
100%.
Because he's going to put off that Thieves Town double dip forever.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate the fact that he just silvered him from the middle of the room, and that was really cool looking?
Yeah, it was pretty swaggy.
Because I see a lot of silvers from, the bottom, from, lining up on the wall, coming up a pixel or two, going right, going left. I don't see too many people just stand in the middle and just, YOLO it the way that happened.
Yeah, no, that was really quite cool. Can we also just shout out the TR lava being really pretty?
Yeah, that one I'll give you. And Kaesden also remembering his favorite place in the world, Mimic Cave.
Yeah. I would have been shocked if Kaesden had forgotten Mimic Cave. Ooh, a big key on Bombo's tablet to Meyer.
Oh my god.
So, we are a flute and maybe a medallion from Go Mode. Oh, and the GT big key. We still need the GT big key, but that can be in
GT big
GT.
key at
That's
this
no big
point
deal.
likely is in GT.
Yeah, that's not that big of a deal. I like how we're less excited about the GT big key. Whatever.
Well, the thing is, the mired big key is great because that means you're not big key hunting in GT, but we still could have that flute hanging out in there.
This is true, and it'd be gross. Oh man, wait. Flute in GT, GT big key in Mire. Or GT big key on Saha. Never
Or on
mind.
bed.
Oh wait, nope, that was Ice Palace. Never mind, we're still good.
Yeah, no, we still have a Swamp Palace one to find too, so.
Oh yeah, we gotta find all the big keys.
There's still one more debate we can get out of a big key grab.
All right, what you doing, Kaesden? Where are you going? Save and quit. No, what? Wait, no, I know what he's doing. No, wait, no. Stay in the Dark World and just run. I don't know. Actually, that might be slower.
Actually, no, Mimic Cave was in the Light World. He could have just saved and quit from in there.
Yeah, he could have. I think he was trying to decide if it would be faster to save and quit back to the pyramid and run down, or if it was faster to do what he's doing right now, which I think this is definitely faster.
Yeah, you have many less screen transitions.
Yeah, this is definitely the way to go. All right, so other than the Ice Palace Big Key, I don't think we have found anything of great import here in Desert.
No, we have not. But Ice Palace Big Key does give us another orphan for Scruff to potentially chase before going back to Thieves Town.
Yeah. Man, it might be a situation where Scruff is in, big key or big chest mode.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, if you asked me a year ago which one he'd do first, I would say Thieves Town, without a doubt, because, Ice Palace Bomb Jump's no fun. But with the fact that the the Icebreaker is a thing, the big chest for Ice Palace isn't that bad anymore, so it might be the first choice.
Yeah, it very well could be, and I mean, I don't know. I mean, meh. This is all, no matter what, it's gonna be awful. Ice Palace Big Chest is gross to get to. Thieves Town Big Chest is gross to get to. TR Lava Chest was gross to get to. Like, there's not great choices, but it doesn't matter. Like, at this point, it's a hunt for a flute. And here's the thing that we need to keep in mind is Kaesden is going to be in GT mode after he finishes this dungeon, meaning he can go up. He has all 4 small keys. He knows the big key and the flute and the Mire Big could be there. I imagine that if he's checking everything, which I don't know how you're not, I imagine that he is going to run over to Bombo's tablet first, possibly Desert as well, looking for that flute just in case he can finish it off before going to GT. But, at this point, Scruff is in Pod Big Key hunt.
And the saving grace for Scruff in that is that the Pod Big Key is what locks his ability to decide that GT is the plethora of checks that he needs to go to.
Right.
So he is naturally bottlenecking himself, fortunately, in this regard, by not having the big key to the one crystal he needs. And it does look like we're going to see the Ice Palace Big Chest before we see the Thieves' Town one.
Oh man, what if this is flute? What if just all of these dungeons require double dips for things inside their big chests?
Then I would feel like you really did write this seed.
I would be so upset. I would be so upset. This is insanity. I mean, it's not. This is 80 keys, not insanity.
It is 80 keys, which is its own version of insanity. And
True.
as in chat bring up a good point that if the flute is in Pod, just based on the nature of key count, that puts things in Scruff's favor there.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. Now, Kaesden did get 1 small key from the front here, and he knows that there's still a small key on Bumper Ledge. Now, whether he assumes that's Pod or not is irrelevant. but he again would still have to go through the Bowlock side with only one key.
And you have to go back to a dungeon he's already finished.
Yeah, exactly. Like, nobody wants to do that triple dip. Oh, so 4 smalls. Never mind. Yeah, so he's going to get a small from desert. This is a seed.
Yeah, it started out linear, it jumped open, then it relinearized on us.
Yeah.
If that's not a word, it should be.
I mean, I like it. Now, Scruff had been having a little bit of trickiness with his icebreaker, but does get it. He is Roomba-ing on as Kaesden is finding his sword and swamp.
But the answer is order food and keep watching.
Yes, agreed. Let DoorDash do its thing. Or Grubhub or Uber Eats or whatever is your local delivery service.
Right, so Kaesden making his way to the back of Swamp Palace, passing by yet another chest we don't have the ability to open. That could contain all kinds of the goodie we need.
Scruff finding our 6th and final pod small key. So he does have the ability to full clear it. And if there's something in the pod big chest or in Harmless Hellway or in the vanilla big key chest, that's going to be very, very rough for Kaesden.
So Scruff looked like he was about to go to pod and then saved and quit.
Yeah, I'm wondering, did he never do Hera Basement? It looks like that might be... No, he did. Okay.
He has the book. He's going to Ether Tablet.
Oh, okay. That is a smart play. This makes sense.
He's going to Ether Tablet. He'll probably do Ether Tablet here and then resign himself to the Thieves Town Big Chest. Provided Ether doesn't give him the flute to send him to Mire.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, that's all he has left. He's officially been bottlenecked into Thieves Town.
Well,
unless...
Or pod to see if it's a vanilla big key.
Yeah.
So a blue
That's
item.
True, and at that point...
To see, I think, here, because it's not the flute sending him to a dungeon that he doesn't need to clear. You know, based on the fact that he wants his big key from pod first. He doesn't need to clear it, but we might actually be able to just go mode Mire, which go moding at least one dungeon at 80 keys would feel really nice.
Yeah, flute cannot be on PED because Mire is required to be able to pull the PED, and flute is required for Mire.
And Kaesden giving us that traditional-looking silver kill for Argus, or at least from my perspective, traditional-looking in how he set it up. And that now gives him the ability to go hang out in Ganon's Tower.
Yeah. And no, it cannot be the dam. The dam has already been cleared. Sorry, no, that was me being silly. Case. Oh no, okay. Hang on. This is fine. This is fine. K45, then he'll swing back around into Bombo's tablet on the way to desert. This is fine.
Yeah, at this point, there's really no better time to check this.
No, there's really not. At this point, we are still in, this is still a race, y'all. Like, Scruff is going to be getting his pod big key very shortly. He's going to be able to full clear it completely. And if the flute is in pod, you know, Kaesden's not going back to pod at this point. He's going to be going up to GT, banking on the fact that the flute is in GT somewhere.
Yeah, to me, there would be no reason. He has, 3 chests left in pod, because he has the Harmless Hellway, he didn't go back for the big chest, and he has the vanilla big key. Versus
Correct.
27 potential areas in GT. There is no version of Kaesden, I think, that says, pod, why not?
Right. No, there's no way. Never in, I don't say a million years, but I don't ever see him making that decision. But he will be getting this very, very shortly as Scruff picks up his pod big and will be heading over to that dungeon itself. Now, he did not, he could have saved and quit and ended up on the pyramid and just ran over there, but instead saved and quit from the light world after mirroring.
Yeah, I think that's more a muscle memory thing.
Yeah. I agree. That is 100% what happened.
So Kaesden's going to give us the clear of desert. During that time, we're going to see a couple of new things from Pod here for Scruff, which is nice. One of them being a Swamp Palace Big Key would be a little rude, but again, I don't see either of them at this point going to any one-off check before rushing GT.
No, I agree with you completely. Answer a question in chat. Who thinks in their mind that they are going to be more behind? I think that both of our runners are going to be feeling very behind right now. I think Kaesden's going to be feeling behind from that mirror, and Scruff is feeling behind from that pod big, for certain.
Yeah, anytime you last location something, you gain that opportunity to let it sink into your brain that you're behind.
Yeah. I think that they're both going to be... I think they're both going to be feeling the jitters, to say the very least. Now,
Scruff having 6 small pod keys gets to do this normally, which is a beautiful thing because it is much faster than hanging out on Bullock's side for, the majority of your trip.
Right.
So we're getting the first of the 3 pod checks that we've not seen yet right now. And it's nothing. Scruff will make up for not getting the Stalvo's basement earlier. Breathe a sigh of relief on the ease of that chest being something that he could have had forever and not being anything required.
Yeah, and I don't even know if I necessarily say that Scruff is behind. I think it's close enough at this point that they are fairly close-ish to even. I mean, Scruff will exit or join the mountain a little bit behind, but not much.
Yeah, it'll be probably a minute-ish difference between the two of them, with the fact that we're going to see the Lambos killed before we even sniff Helmasaur on Scruff's side. And half magic, not a required item, but you love to see it.
Now, we must have missed it earlier. Did Scruff do Harmless Hellway?
He has not yet.
Earlier? He has 13 out of 14 checks, though, in pod.
He did, and it must have been nothing.
Yeah, okay, well, so Kaesden is just going to be missing out on half magic, which is a very nice, a nice deal for him. It's a nice safety to have, but at this point with red mail and the bajillion hearts and silvers and butter, I don't think magic is going to be a huge issue. We do have 3 bottles also. Now, he may not be stopping for them anywhere, but he knows before GT if he really needs potions that he can stop, or not GT, but before Ganon, he can go into the Pyramid Fairy and refill on blues.
And to answer about the flute in GT, flute is either in GT or the item that leads to flute is in GT.
Correct.
Which
at this point,
it could be the Swamp Palace Big.
Yeah, that's literally it. That's the only thing that could be even some semi-fetch quest-y.
Correct.
Oh, man. If you find the flute in GT, do you mirror out or do you keep looking for GT Big Key? You stay. You stay because you don't want to climb the mountain again.
Absolutely. You stay and you hope, because realistically at that point you're going to Mire for, I believe Mire has 8 chests in it total.
Right.
Over the rest of the 27, and the opportunity to not have to climb the mountain again. You stick it out. Or the other 21, rather, because you can't get the big key out of the last 4. And then the big chest is the 5th, so.
Yeah, you definitely do not leave the mountain. You don't leave GT until you feel like you have to. Now, I imagine after he opens his Kaesden might mirror real quick and check Ether Tablet, which we know is nothing. But he has not been up here since getting that book again, so this will
Yeah, it would make total sense for him to go ahead make that run over, and he's not. So
No, gamble away.
we
Gamble
know that
away, my
that's not
friend.
going to hinder him at all, but it might sit in the back of his mind if he does find himself wondering if he needs to go to Swamp Palace with a big key that he finds here, or over to
Right.
Ethan.
Alright, so far nothing. And is not opting to continue full right for right now. He is going to go ahead and do hope to left.
And Scruff,
I mean,
once again, just
oof.
this Dead Rock fun. I say fun in a very sarcastic way.
Yeah, no, these dead rocks have not been kind to their Goomba friend.
They have not. I think they're a little envious of his girthy size because they're a little on the stout side.
I mean, yeah.
So Kaesden giving us the Stelphos room here. Still not getting us anything fun though.
I mean, 300 rupees are nice.
They are, but when you already have like 1,100 or whatever you had, I get that more money is always good money, but still.
I mean, yeah. And at this point, you're not likely to hit up the you're not likely to hit up the witch's hut for any potions anytime soon.
Yep. Now the interesting thing with Kaesden going hope to left is that opens the opportunity for Scruff to go ahead and give us that hope right and make up a lot of ground if he finds what he needs over on that right side. Because both big keys in the compass room is possible.
This is very true, and this is close enough that GT routing could make or break, honestly. So, oh my gosh, I just want to shout out Kaesden and Scruff again. Like, shout out to the runners. Go follow them. Like, right now. Go and give them a follow right this second. Because they have absolutely put on a race for us, and it's so good. There's a flute on the left side. No, don't leave, don't leave. What are you doing? No! Kaesden, please!
So Kaesden's going up, which is good.
Key?
This is the best case scenario for him making that mirror, because he's going to hit that big key door and be like, oh, wait, and probably stay in here and look for the big key.
I mean, did we miss the big key somewhere? Now that's what I'm wondering. Like, did we miss it?
I don't think we did.
I don't think we did either.
If I missed it and you missed it, our tracker wouldn't have missed it.
Right. I mean, and shout out again to Kono Tyron for the awesomeness. We're about to find out if he missed it. Or if we missed it. Oh. Yeah, no. He missed it. Bonk.
Right, so he should just mirror and continue down the left side and go back to the right.
Yeah, why are we walking? Mirror.
Scruff is giving us the tile room here.
Oh my gosh.
So now we are almost in sync on the right side.
Now, a quick note. Scruff will still have to go to the right side to Rando Room. But if the big key is in one of the two chests that Kaesden left in Rando Room,
he has to go back there anyway.
He has to go back there anyway, and that puts Scruff in the lead.
Yep.
I'm not ready.
No,
Kaesden, you forgot to light the top torch.
Alright, so we have a bug net. We have the single arrow. We have 5 rupees.
On this side.
20 rupees rather. And 20 more. So compass room was a bust.
Oh, we potentially still need one medallion too. Yup. Y'all right. Oh my gosh.
If I'm in either of these runners' positions, I'm super torn in... Once I find the GT big key and I'm in theoretical go mode, I feel like I have to just keep going and hope to find both medallions to keep my mind at ease.
Yeah.
Like, I am... Obviously, you go up and you clear the top, because there's no reason to come back to GT anyway. But if that big key is in Rando Room, I continue on through Ice Armos and even go to the big chests, just in case.
I agree with you. I think that 33% is so scary to try and gamble on, you know? If you had 2 medallions and you were gambling on one of them, like, not being necessary, then sure. But I'm inclined to agree with you. Like, even if the big key is there, I think you don't gamble on 33%.
No. And we are seeing him go full right now. So those two chests in Randover might be GT orphans for Kaesden.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you. I am terrified to see what is on these two chests. He also skipped tile, but tile we learned was nothing, so that's less of an issue.
So we're going to find out relatively quickly, because I don't think Scruff's going to make that same instantaneous, oh, I'm just going to go up the climb that Kaesden did. I don't feel like that's going to happen. Also with the way he's opening the chests. So Randover is safe for Kaesden.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Vice Armos. And
Small
the big
key
is in Mire or in the Swamp Palace big chest with the big key to
No, Kaesden, no! Don't do it, no! Just gamble it, no!
I cannot fault him this.
No, I can't either.
If I were in his position, I'd be going to Rando Room, I'd be going to Tile Room, and then I'd be going to Mire.
I know, but at the same time, oh my gosh, I am gonna have a fit. Oh my gosh, I'm not okay. Hit the switch first. There you go. Okay. I think all of my commentary professionalism has just left the room. It's gone.
That's okay. Mine's been gone the whole time, so we're good.
All right, we're even then. Sweet. Oh my gosh. I feel like at the very least I know that Tabby is there with me right now. I'm just the insane person that said, yeah, I'll commentate for you guys. No big deal.
Yeah, but just think of the fun you're having.
I'm not okay. Well, at this point, are we decently guaranteed then that Bombos is our entry into Mire?
I think we have to be.
I don't think we found anything else.
Yeah, there's no other spot for anything.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so getting the ether tablet check here, and then Kaesden is going to be saving and quitting to the sanctuary. He's going to be activating his flute, which we see Scruff doing as we speak. Get your salutes up in chat.
IP Big Chest has already been checked, and it was nothing.
Correct.
It was a key to pod, but it led to nothing.
It could be medallions in Mire Sheds or checkerboard too. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, so the Mire area is the answer for Mire, regardless of if it's Bombos or an item there.
So at this point, it's going to come down... Oh my gosh. This is going to come down to...
I don't hate this, but you know
it's nothing there. Yeah, there's nothing there. There's no reason for this.
Could absolutely be there.
Oh, you're so right. Oh my god. Please
but,
no.
My thought process is you have to go to Mire and you have to clear it anyway. So...
Yeah, if you don't find the big key while you're over there, just...
No. It is quicker to check the ped, I think, than it is to full clear Mire. So if he saw GT big key on the ped, he'd just go mode Mire.
Oh my god, look at this thing. Oh my god. Penguin, I'm not okay. Penguin, I'm not okay.
So it's gonna be alright.
This is a race, y'all. This is so scary. I'm laughing so hard.
My favorite part of this is we have ether, so we gotta find that in one of these 3 checks.
Right.
Or find the Swamp Palace big key to go to Swamp Palace to get ether.
Oh my gosh.
Or
Mirror shield, alright.
Or better yet, never mind, there's ether.
Oh, there we go, we're good.
The other option was better yet, Swamp Palace big key would then be nothing, and we'd have to go back to GT, or it would be the GT big key, and we'd go back there to get ether to come back to Mire, but no.
No, I mean, I agree with what they're doing too, checking everything around Mire before going into Mire to see if they're going to just be able to go mode it, or if they are... No, keys. You have 16 hearts.
He wants 17.
Oh
17
my gosh.
hearts right now. I'm pretty sure he is planning on face tanking everything, and if he's not, that was silly.
Yeah. I'm right there with you, Tabby. I mean, I think you can hear it in my voice right now. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. Emergency meeting, please.
Now, it's funny you say that.
Does Scruff throw the bird?
No, I don't think
Throw
so.
it. Throw it.
He does.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
You
That's
just
right.
wanted
Save
that
all the
extra
time for
second
us.
page, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Look at
as
this
you said the
cotton candy
emergency
mire.
button, as you said the emergency meeting thing, Sean Rhapsody said hit the emergency button, and I do want to just shout out the fact that there is now an Among Us sprite on the website for people to choose.
Wait, is there really?
Yeah, it's called Crewmate.
That's fabulous. Oh my gosh. Penguin. Oh, we got divergence inside mire. Okay, this is cool. So Scruff is going to check this big chest over here on the right side first. Now, he won't be able to check the other chest because he did not drop the pegs, whereas Kaesden is going to be checking the left side first, going to be getting these, the fire rod checks. I really hope he skips cutscene chest for now, because, ew. Oh, you don't have magic.
Magic.
He's gonna pick up the magic in this room, though. Yeah, this is fine. This is fine. Everything is fine.
And see, if he didn't have that 17th heart, he'd only be at 15 now, and that's just a dangerous number.
Oh my gosh, Penguin, please.
Come on. I have to knock that. I mean, come on.
No, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
So I would also like to point out that I'm disappointed that I don't think we saw one weaponized bottle this entire seed.
No, we did not. We did not. Okay, so... Alright, in Spike Chest and Bridge Chest, we find nothing.
Yeah, and we are getting the cutscene check out of Kaesden. So this is a super thorough, because I'm also running out of words here, approach that he's taking in committing to left side first and then right.
Yeah, I mean, and this could be a big deal. I mean, if it's here, oh my gosh. I mean, yeah, with the way the seed has been going, if it's not here, I'm gonna be like shocked.
If it's not here, it's on Saha.
Oh, it could be Saha. You're right.
Yeah, it could absolutely be Saha.
All right, does Scruff do it too? And he's going for it. He's going for cutscene chest. This is, oh my gosh.
I don't blame him. Like, once you leave this left side, you're almost committing to killing Vitreous and then coming back in for the cutscene chest, which then you're doing Mire 2 again. That to me just screams time loss.
No, you 100% full clear everything while you're here. 100%.
So Kaesden opting not to give us the rail clip here in Mire, and I think I'm more disappointed in that than I am the 17th heart.
I will tell you this. He has got to be feeling so scared right now. We're at 2 hours, 11 minutes in a GT Big Key hunt, in the last dungeon that you had to dip GT for. Kaesden's got to be feeling scared, and I think that he's not trusting his buffers right now, if I'm being honest with you.
That's fair.
Vanilla small key. Or French vanilla small key, forgive me. Alright, so
now is Vitreous or Saha.
Yeah, that's... Or if Vitreous drops a Swamp Palace Big Key, or if Saha gives us a Swamp Palace Big Key.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. I'm waiting to see if Kaesden's first words when he joins for an interview are simply, I retire.
Likely.
Oh my goodness, I'm very much... I know I've said this a few times, I am not okay.
Well, Kaesden's on his way to 20 hearts, so, you know, that's a plus. When yours explodes from the panic, he has plenty to give you.
This is also true.
And Garrison bringing up a good point that if we get a Swamp Palace Big out of this, and that's where our answer is, Kaesden might decide pod first. Because he has more checks there than he has in that one Swamp Palace spot.
Please don't put that on me. I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay.
I didn't do it, but Garrison did.
Garrison, stop it! Alright. You know, I gotta say, for not having, half magic, Kaesden is working his way through this and managing his magic still really quite well. He had literally just enough shots to be able to do with that full magic refill literally just enough shots to be able to do, I'm sorry, I'm really having trouble thinking. Do torches and, cutscene.
Yeah, you can just call it the thing, it's fine.
The thing. Wait.
And there it is!
Get the skill mode!
So
okay, go.
2:13:36, Kaesden hits go mode.
And I was gonna say we could do a guessing game, but not really because, 80 keys. So,
So, funny thing about a guessing game, because we got into the room a little later than I wanted to. Well, I got into the room a little later than I wanted to. I was going to ask you if you wanted to flip a coin on which one of the runners to follow and get a number for a big key guessing game. What number do you think that would have been?
Do we count? Wait, like what number would I have guessed it to be?
No, what number do you think that was right there?
Let's see. For Kaesden, he skipped tile room, so 21 plus 8, so 29.
Oh, I was thinking from the beginning of the seed, not GT.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. Because, I mean, in 80 keys, it could be check 3 before you even go into GT.
That was like 198, 199.
That sounds
something like that. That was high. That was near 200, if not over 200. The only redeeming factor, the fact that he skipped pod, and he skipped tile room.
Yep, and now we have a pure execution race, because Scruff can make up some time going up GT, because it's literally just, one of those scripted areas of the game where you're running through rooms, killing enemies as quickly as possible, and getting to that last guy you need to fight.
Yeah, I am still, this is not over. The fact that Kaesden just happened to beat Vidi first does not change anything. I am still a mess over here in my side of the booth.
So Kaesden enters, and we come out of black at 2:15:30. So we'll see what Scruff needs to make up once he gets in there.
All right, so at this point, like you had mentioned, it's literally an execution battle at this point. Who can get through the gauntlet the fastest? Who can take down a pig, slice him up, and skewer him, make some Ganon kebabs?
So Scruff has to make up 32 seconds.
Oh my gosh, that's way too close. I'm not okay, Penguin. 32 seconds.
That is a very doable thing, especially if 18 Heart Kaesden decides he needs to be full and goes to the safety.
Right. I mean, if Kaesden goes, I was gonna say if Kaesden goes to safety room, I'm gonna be so upset. I was like, dude, please, no. There's no reason. Stop this.
He has a quick gauntlet one there.
Alright, making those fire rod shots, even though he doesn't have half magic, he's making use of them.
Well, knowing that the stun prize is full magic, he's probably willing to be a little more giving with his fire rod shots. Though that will cost him some time if he has to stun something to get some magic back. Whereas Scruff can just run through the entire thing with the fire rod, throwing it at literally everybody and not giving a damn.
Throwing all the things. Alright. Okay, good. Kaesden's skipping the bunny beam. Don't feel like he has to powder it. He's gonna get the normal setup for Landmos. He's shooting like a stormtrooper, but that's okay.
Kaesden leaves at 2:17:35 for Landmos.
I'm waiting for your time. That's why I'm not saying anything.
It's 30 seconds.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Kaesen's magic is a little bit scary, but he is opting to do this with the lamp. He'll have enough for a fire rod shot, but he will have to pick up the full magic in the next room, unless he opts to do.
Not have to.
Right. I was gonna say unless he opts to not, but. Whew, okay. So. I'm still like I'm at the edge of my seat. I am I am very much like the not like this dude, but not covering my eyes because I need to watch.
That's fair. So exactly 2:19, Kaesden enters the Moldorm 2 arena.
Ooh, it takes down the worm very, very quickly as Scruff is going to enter the last little safety room. Is powdering some fairies. Opens the chest for a quick medallion.
So he made up 10 seconds in the Landmo to Moldorm area.
Yeah, which with the way torches had to be done and picking up the extra thing, that's not too shocking to me, but ugh.
And probably gave back a little bit of that with that Moldorm fight there. Just because of how quickly Kaesden was able to do it. So we get a 1 from it. First Aga for Kaesden. In a position where he could have potentially gotten 2, so maybe Scruff's able to make up a little time on it there.
Yeah.
The Aga patterns aren't being terribly friendly. Nice 2 there from Kaesden, really.
Alright, so 1, 1, 2, 1. 1. Nice symmetry.
And so far Scruff is 1-1. 1-1-2. We may get symmetry from both runners. 1-1-2-1-1.
Oh man. Well, okay. At least, symmetry's a thing. And Scruff is going to rack up that bonk count. I know that you and your comrades on New Hyrule Order are big fans of that.
We are bonk friends.
Yeah.
Right.
Good old
so
Team 40
220-42. 220-42 for Kaesden to drop in. At this point,
I like how
execution error on his part is going to be what costs him the race.
I have to laugh at the fact that Ganon singing "Don't Stand So Close to Me" and Kaesden immediately walks in for a Ganon hug.
That's fair. And Scruff was exactly 20 seconds behind again, so the gap closed and reopened and closed again.
Yeah, at this point, both of our runners have finished Mire. Both of them have gotten Ether. Both have the bug net. This is, everything's fine. Everything's great. Kaesden is about to enter phase 4, and he is 4 silver arrow shots away from a dead pig. Does get the torch glitch. I like this shade of periwinkle that Ganon is turning. It's quite nice. And he does take down Ganon as Scruff is entering phase 4.
Now, will Kaesden make it across the bridge?
I was gonna say don't fall. I say it every time during pilot week too. I was like, all right, GG, don't fall. And Kaesden wins with a race time GG time of 2 hours, 22 minutes, and 10 seconds. GG.
And as we see Scruff finishing his Ganon fight, he is going to walk through that door as well, and he will finish with a time 21 seconds behind at 2:22:31.
Guys, I'm not okay. GG to you both.
Pretty nerve-wracking, wasn't it?
That was fun to watch. How was that to play?
It was good until mistakes were made.
Same.
You want to elaborate on which mistakes 18 Hearts?
Well, yeah, I saw myself getting roasted in chat for like a solid 10 minutes there, so I figured that was coming. So in my practice seed I played this morning before the race, I got a super early GT big key, and I had a case of seeds bleeding together, which is why I started going up the GT climb as soon as I found the flute, hit the door and like, oh, I don't have this. And I just pieced out on Rando Room with 2 chests left. And from that point, I was just kind of shaking. I was like, crap, if the big key's in there, I probably, I didn't know what to do. So I finished clearing, skipped Tile Room. By the time I got to Checkerboard Cave, I picked up the heart, and right as I was picking it up, I was like, what the hell am I doing? I don't need this. Why am I picking this up? And I'm glad chat was yelling at me, because I 100% deserved it.
I honestly can't wait for you to watch this back and hear my freakouts throughout the rest of the seed, because I'm only just now coming down from some adrenaline. I don't even know how y'all feel. Like, I'm not okay.
I mean, I've had 10 minutes and I'm not okay either, so.
I was actually helping prep dinner by pounding some schnitzel. And that was a great stress relief.
That sounds like it.
That is going to be some tender schnitzel, I think.
Oh, yes. Paper thin.
So we were kind of trying to figure out some of the gross logic of this seed. So, and I know I'm speaking the L word, Penguin. Deal with it.
L word.
No, deal with it. So
I
this seed wanted you to go up to TR to get your boots, to do Aga, to go and get your 4th small key from Lumberjack to be able to clear out the dungeon, but also to get your mirror. How stupid did that feel to you guys? Because it felt stupid here.
That was so dumb.
Oh, I hated that.
I was almost wondering if there was any chance Scruff screwed up and got his mirror on accident, spending the 3rd key on Lava Bridge, because that could have changed the game. I don't know if it would have been an advantage or not. It might have. But this is one of those seeds where spending a key you generally wouldn't spend would probably help you.
I will say Scruff had done Aga Tower way earlier, in fact. Very early on in the seed. But it was one of those situations where we were kind of questioning, like, is he really doing it for the 1 small key? But then, you were so locked because your boots were so hidden away that it didn't matter. And at the same time, it also gave you that nice portal for easy Dark World access instead of having to hammer through. So it's like, okay, makes sense. This is really not bad. You have to do it anyway. But it was a wild ride. And then at the same time that Kaesden was on his way, or Kaesden was kind of clearing it behind, because at that point when Scruff found the mirror, he was ahead. And while Kaesden was kind of clearing up Ice Palace and things like that, that's when Scruff found his mirror. Scruff, while you were doing some of the mirror checks, eventually Kaesden made his way over and dipped Thieves Town, got that pod big out of Thieves Town while you were kind of still doing mirror checks in Swamp and other things. So it was a situation of having to go back into 2 dungeons for 1 chest each for required progression.
Yeah. The seed was gross. It started out, it wasn't too bad, but then as the one-offs start opening up and the seed's just saying, you don't want to go here, but at the same time, that's where you're going to end up having to go, but you don't want to commit too early. So yeah, it was pretty gross.
Oh yeah. The whole reasoning behind going to Aga early is I had just finished Eastern. Pod was my next area. I figured, alright, I've got 2 pod small keys to waste. If I somehow find the boots over there, and that somehow happens to be a pod small key, then I could go ahead and just use that, when I get it again. Didn't work out for that reason, but...
No, I mean, it was valid, though. It was a valid decision. I'm sorry, Penguin, you were about to say something. Go ahead.
I actually forget what I was going to say, because I was going to ask about the thought process behind the Aga thing, and he answered it.
Oh, well. I mean, I think I'm still. I mean, guys, this was a race.
I'm having
Don't put
fun
on the
listening to you
show.
stagger over this, so.
I mean, right? I mean, this was just a really, really incredible race to watch. I think both of our teams came in knowing that this week was going to be stressful, but also kind of really important for bracket contentions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not over yet. Like we still have, I think, Winfox versus Jetters on Friday.
Yep.
And I mean, really, truly, this is going to be stressful no matter which way you cut it, I think. And I think that this week, plus how our teams do with Co-op Enemizer next week, is going to really be a deciding factor between our top 3 in our division. It's terrifying.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly.
So, with this specific seed here, you guys had a lot of linear stuff happen in the beginning, and then everything kind of opened up. At any point after the open up, did you start to feel like the plays you were making were putting you ahead, or is this just another one of those situations of, I feel like I'm behind because it's an AD key seed and that's just what happens?
I felt so behind leaving every single chest. I left the Thieves Town big chest, the Ice Palace big chest, going through all this, and it wasn't until I found that mirror that I instantly thought, wait, there's a small key over on the freaking Lumberjack ledge. I've got the boots now. That's when I thought, okay, I've got a little bit of a lead. But then last locationing the pod big key and then going through all that hoopla for the GT big key, I should have just trusted my gut after finding that flute and immediately mirrored out to activate it. I was thinking that. I was honestly thinking it was going to be in Mire, but I didn't want to risk it.
Yeah, I kind of have the same thought of like, I almost wished the GT big key had just been on Lumberjack. It would have made everything so much easier to process, but I grabbed that key and I'm going to clear out the simple checks along the way, and then I'll go dive Mire and hope for the best, and apparently pick up an 18 card along the way.
Yeah, your collection rates tell the story of this entire seed, I think, because the only 2 checks we did not see, I believe, were Swamp Palace Big Chest and Saha.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 that were not seen between both of you, because Kaesden, you skipped tie over him. Scruff, you went right in.
And it would have been 100% inventory. I just found those last hearts.
Did Scruff get the remaining chests in Pod and Ice Palace too?
Yes.
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 Okay.
That's where half
Yeah,
magic
we
was.
literally. Yes,
Yep.
half magic was in the
okay.
pod bag.
Gotcha.
Oh, that
Yeah.
was a nuts race altogether.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Yeah,
I'm excited for you guys to watch it back because it was really fun to watch. It was really fun to commentate, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it.
I hope so anyway. I mean, as we're kind of winding down, do the 2 of you have any kind of last thoughts on the seed?
May it rest forever in the pits of hell.
Yeah, I'll second that, and I'll just say I'm glad I'm done grinding 80 keys now. So I've played a lot of them in a short period of time.
Now, are either of you actually looking forward, though, to Co-op Enemizer?
Oh, heck yes. I love that mode.
Yeah, that
Yes.
mode's just going to be hectic. It's going to be fun. It's going to shake things up. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, a couple of masochists in this room, my god.
I mean, I think that it's going to be fun in the sense of I'm looking forward to another team mode.
I really enjoy the co-op modes. I think they're a lot of fun.
That's fair.
Enemizer can be hit or miss. I mean, I've seen some Enemizer seeds that are just plain awful, and some other ones where every room just seems to be easy mode. It really depends on how it rolls and where enemies decide to get placed. That's going to be different for sure.
Yeah, just I want to give really quickly, just as a closing out here, a big shout out again to both Kaesden and MrScruffNinjaTuna for putting on a ridiculously close race. If you have not already, please go and follow them, because this was the kind of race that you hope to see in competitions like this. But dear God, don't do to me like that again, Kaesden, please. Secondly, a shout out to our awesome tracker Kono Tyrant and our restreamer Ricky of Kokiri. Once more, a big shout out to you, Penguin, for joining me on this adventure and helping me keep somewhat reasonable when I wanted to die.
Oh, come on. I could have told you to do some breathing exercises, and I didn't. I like the fact that you were freaking out.
I mean, yeah, but you were able to actually provide commentary while I was freaking out, so it was good.
That's fair, yeah. That's fair.
It was a good balance. So now I'm thinking maybe on Friday we need to try and get Tabby in here on the commentary side, so we can just have double freak out and then nothing gets done.
I think that's comedy gold and should happen. Someone pencil that in.
I can't wait to watch that and listen to it.
But shout outs again to the whole crew. I am so happy to have volunteered with you guys. And right now on League 2, we have I Saw Rambler Jump Out Events versus New Hyrule Order. Rambler versus CJ. Penguin, I know you're going to be hopping over there real quick if you haven't already had it on the background to watch your teammate battle it out.
I have attempted to remain professional and not put it on just yet. And also, we are going to be heading over there ourselves after we close this one out. So I don't even have to. We're just going to get sent over on our own. It's a beautiful thing. We love technology.
Well, let's do that. Let's just go ahead and send everybody over. Stick around. Let's go watch some more Rando. Y'all have a wonderful night.
Night, everybody.